I didn't finish it.
You didn't finish the Burt one?
I didn't finish the Burt one. Not because it wasn't any good. I just haven't finished it.
That's all right. You can watch it later. All right, I got some things to show you here. What do you think about that?
Nathan.
Look at the old man's glasses.
Isn't that his outfit he's wearing on his gravestone? No, it's just all the same.
It is. His gravestone's a fun story. Here, actually, I think I have that picture.
Yeah, I saw it up there. Yeah, right there. It's different, but the same.
No, that's the actual one that's on his gravestone.
I know, but it's different than the one with all of us.
Here, let's look at it again.
But it's the same.
Well, back in the, 80s?
That's probably 85?
85-ish, 86-ish. I guess that shirt's like, that might be the same one. Look, the lines right here on the side.
Olin Mills.
So, yeah, Olin Mills. So for all the viewers or listeners, we have a package that we got from Harpeth Hills. It's called the Hollis package, or pulled a Hollis, where our grandmother and uncle and grandfather did not want our dad to be buried in Iron City. They wanted him to be buried at Harpeth Hills. And so we had his funeral and we did all of the things. But we told the people at the funeral home at Harpeth Hills that we wanted him to have a fake funeral at a fake burial at Harpeth Hills. And then a day or two later, me and Nathan and Joseph took him out to Iron City and buried him where he wanted to be buried.
I think the best part is they actually scratched up the ground.
Oh yeah, I said, can you just go over there and just scratch up the ground a little bit to, just make it look like he did something. Throw a little seed and straw on it, and they did.
Because Uncle Bobby went over there. It's like they did a good job burying him.
Yeah, well, they thought that there was going to be like a graveside service. And I told them, luckily it rained or snowed or it was like really wet and nasty. So I told them that we weren't doing that part.
Yeah, we used COVID.
Oh, yeah, there was a COVID thing. So all that to say, this picture of him on the screen here, because it's so awesome, we put that on his fake headstone at Harpeth Hills. And then he actually has a whole real headstone because we buried him where he wanted to be buried out in Iron City with the rest of the Hollis family. So if you ever go out to Harpeth Hills, that's the picture you will see of him out there.
But he's not there.
No, he is not there for sure. All right, what do you think about this picture?
I actually have this picture favorited, so this one comes up on my iPhone all the time on the slideshow. And I used this picture the other day as revenge because you sent pictures of me without a beard and with short hair, and then Sarah shared it with everybody in the office. So
like that picture.
That's the one. Yeah, that's one.
You look like Nathan there, and you're not fat in this picture.
Well, this is pre-kids.
Well, you don't fucking get fat from having kids.
I know,
like being pregnant.
I know, but I was skinny until Sam was born. Like that shirt's a large. This shirt that I'm wearing now is a 4X.
It's. Yeah, I mean, we all get big. But let's go back to this one right here. Look at that fucking Chicago Bulls. I was really big into the Chicago Bulls.
Yeah, you used to draw the Bulls logo all over everything, like Jonah Hill and Superbad drew dicks.
That's true. Look at the old man's watch there.
I have that watch. It's on top of my toolbox.
It ain't no Rolex. It's like a Seiko or something.
It is a Seiko. It is. I looked at it yesterday when we were working on that car. I was like, yeah, this is Dad's watch. He wore this forever, even though he bought like 500 Citizen watches.
And then your fucking, what's your shirt say? Kick? Looks like it says Kick.
I mean, I see Kick. I don't know if there's any other letters that we can't see.
I can't remember what this logo is, but Nathan had like 5 of these shirts.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I can't zoom in on it.
It's goofy looking. And then this is the last known picture of the three of us.
Yeah, that was the last time I cut my hair.
And you weren't even as fat there.
I know, it's gotten worse.
I mean, you've gotten more fat. No, look, I'm the same way. But this was what, 3-4 years ago?
21?
February of 21. And you look like you were wearing like an extra large shirt there.
No, it's 3X. Maybe 2X.
I don't know. Maybe it's just because you're tall. I don't know. That's the last known picture. Oh yeah. So this goes with that story. So this is out in Iron City. He's got his grandfather and like all these graves around here are Hollis graves. I don't know why they didn't want him to be buried out there.
Well, they told us. They told us exactly why.
Why?
You young, y'all don't give a shit about going to see him at his grave, which, they're right, but Meemaw and Granddaddy Gene too old to drive all the way out there.
Well, Gene is hell-bent on being buried at Harpeth Hills. And I said, why do you want to be buried at Harpeth Hills when you can go be buried here where the rest of your family is? Like, his father's out there, right next to the old man there. And he said that because nobody comes see him if he went to Iron City. Well, nobody's going to go see you at Harpeth Hills either.
Look, I'm not going to lie. Dad's been dead for 4 years now, and I've been out there once.
Well, me too. I've been out there once.
We might just be shitty children, but...
We are shitty children, but what do you do when you go out there?
I'm like, what's up, old man?
I mean, you can pay
turn around and leave.
You can pay your respects to him sitting in your chair at home. You don't have to go out there. We got a fucking picture of that.
I can really pay my respects to him sitting in my chair at home because I'm sitting in his house.
Yeah, I know. You're constantly paying your respects to him. But I don't know why people are... Well, this probably goes to like we're numb to everything. And I don't know. I think that most people have like some sense of...
Duty? I don't know.
Duty or desire to be like loving or something.
I mean, Mom has a grave that she's not buried in too.
Yeah, that's right. Why did they do that? Why did they do that? I don't remember why.
We wanted to just bury Mom there with her parents, and Barry wanted to cremate her and put her on his mantle. And then the box he got was too big for the mantle, so she was in the floor until he died.
And the cat peed on her a lot.
Yes.
On her box. It's sad. Our family's fucking sad.
Our family is sad.
I guess you can see Nathan back behind you over there.
Yeah, I see him. He's got a nice little Ferris wheel.
Yeah. So for those of you that don't know, me and Joseph are the last other than our grandfather, which he's probably heading out pretty soon. He's 94, so we'll see what happens with that. All right, what about this picture? This is probably the best, newest picture that we have.
I mean, everybody's seen this picture. Everybody at work.
So what'd you think about the New York subway system?
The New York subway system is amazing, and it's got skyscrapers on top of it.
It does. It's pretty fantastic to think that we can do something like that, and we've never seen it before until recently.
Now, I will say this is the most random planned/unplanned trip in the history of vacations. Somebody thought it would be a fantastic idea to have an Uber drop us off in the middle of Times Square.
Yes.
But not had reserved a hotel anywhere.
That is true.
So we wandered around for a while.
We did do that.
We got drunk.
And that someone was me that got us an Uber and dropped us off in the middle of New York because there's a fucking hotel on every corner.
And we went into all of them around us, and they were all full.
Well, it just so happened there was something going on in New York.
Oh, I would have thought that Times Square would be busy in June.
That's true. I guess that's true, because when I went in January, there was plenty of hotel rooms.
Yes, January up north.
So that was my bad.
But it was a good trip.
It was a good trip. Have you been back since, or you just been that once?
Just that's the only time I've ever been. That 36 hours that we spent there, that we got drunk.
36 hours in New York
Was enough.
I probably spent on that 1.5 day trip at least $2,000.
Yeah, me too.
I went to the beach for 4 days last week or the week before, and I added it all up just so I could compare. And I spent, with the room and everything, food, whatever else, about $800 for 4 days at the beach for spring break. $800 to $900, and 36 hours in New York, $2,000.
I mean, we went to Arizona in February for a week. Now, work paid for our hotel for 2 nights.
Well, it's because you went for a conference.
Correct. But then I paid for the next 2 nights, and I paid for Caitlin's flight there and back, and work paid for my flight. And we ended up spending probably close to $2,000 on that trip too, but that was for a whole week, and we got tattoos. So if you include all that together.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. We went to New York we've probably been 2 or 3 times since me and you went. With this last time we went, it was this year. It was in February for Hayden's. He had some kind of thing going on, but even then, we were there for literally 24 hours. Got off the plane at 9 o'clock in New York. Friday morning, got back to Nashville, 9 o'clock. Saturday morning, spent over $1,000.
Now, I really want to go back to New York. Caitlin isn't too keen on it. It's not for her.
I don't mind going in small pops, but I don't like the big city.
I just feel like there's a lot of stuff for me to go through and do that I didn't do. One, I wore Vans the entire time.
You can just set it down right there.
On your picture. Over here?
Just set it down.
All right.
Yeah, don't run off with my beer.
All right, have fun.
Take Frank with you.
Okay.
No, he wants to stay. It's fine.
All right.
Are we just going to both open all of these and just pour them into the pitcher?
No, you just get you one.
No, there's a lot of stuff that I want to do in New York. A lot of stuff I want to see.
Like what? What do you want to see? Other than everybody wants to see the fucking World Trade Center, but
Not even that. I want to see the fucking park.
What park?
What park?
Central Park? We fucking walk right by it.
No, we didn't. The closest we got to it was when we went to Hayden's bar, which is still weird to me that.
Yes. And it's funny because I was watching the news the other day, and Trump and all them had gone there again. Actually, Laura Trump was there filming something, and it just cracks me up. The reason that they go to that bar is because it's a Bitcoin-based bar.
Oh.
So
well,
that's the catch that it has there.
I just got drunk.
At that bar?
Well, yeah, but your son didn't inform me that I didn't have to pay for my booze.
Oh, that's right. He got that covered.
But not the food. So I got my check for mine and Caitlin's food, and it was like $90. And I was like,
just for food? Good Lord.
well, I'm like, what the hell? It's $90. I was like, I feel like that's a weird number. Like, I feel like it should be a lot lower or a lot higher.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, we were drunk, and we were far away from our hotel. Maybe not like distance wise, but
yeah,
being from Fairview, Tennessee, and had been in New York City for approximately 12 hours at this point.
Yeah.
And you weren't ready to go because you were sticking around because your son, because it was his party.
That's true.
Caitlin and I are homebodies. We don't stay out late. We're usually in bed by 8.
Well, I'm a homebody too. I'm not in bed by 8, but I don't like going places.
But she wasn't feeling great, and I was really drunk, so I didn't give a shit. And so we wandered our way back, and we figured it out. Just got on the subway, and there's a crackhead there. I saw my first legit crackhead. You want to talk about things we don't have in Fairview? We don't have legit crackheads on the corners.
Well, we got crackheads, I'm sure, but they're probably just not on the corners.
Yeah, I have no idea where they would be.
They're like hiding in houses, like cooking up crack. And
I mean, I've been gone for almost 20 years, so they could be there, and I just don't know.
I think that there's probably crack houses around town. At least there was back in the day. But the best thing that I've ever seen in New York, actually, that sounds really bad. It's not the best thing I've ever seen in New York. The strangest thing I've ever seen in New York is right outside of a 5-star hotel, a guy sleeping in a box.
Like Like he stepped into the box and laid
No.
down?
So the box, you got a picture. It was in like it was 3 boxes, and he was laying inside of it, sleeping with his head on like a jacket or something, and the cardboard of each box was around him. He's sleeping in a fucking box, and everybody just walking by like that's normal.
I guess our homeless people are doing better because they're all in like tents.
Well, when me and Nikki were in Pensacola a week or so ago, I told her, if I was homeless, I would find a way to, I'd do a little panhandling to get a little money to take a bus down to the beach and just fucking live on the beach. Wouldn't that make more sense?
Yeah. I mean, look, Rico and I were on our way back. We went and got McDonald's because Caitlin's whole family was at my house yesterday. They were working on a fence, and Rico and I were working on his car. And we're on our way back, and we're crossing that bridge that goes over Mill Creek right before you get to Richard Road. And I guess Rico's never ridden through there. He's usually driving. And I'm like, look at all of our homeless people down there. And down on the creek.
And they have like tents and shit out there?
It's like a whole tent city. And he's like, I used to live here, and I've never noticed this before. I was like, well, they've moved down a little bit. I was like, but why are you hanging out in Antioch? Like, nobody in Antioch has money to give you.
Yeah.
And it's fucking Antioch.
If you're homeless, again, well, if you're homeless in Nashville or New York or something, the old bleeding hearts will give you a bunch of money. But
there's not any bleeding hearts in Antioch.
Yes, exactly. Why would you be homeless in Antioch? I would at least just fucking start walking to Nashville. Like sit on the corner somewhere in Nashville where you can get a little money.
But all that to say, I enjoyed my 36 hours in New York. It was so different from what I've ever been to. And I haven't been to a lot of places. Up until that trip, I've been to Florida. I went to D.C. once. It was a miserable trip.
I've never been there. I want to go there. But New York, I've been there probably about 10 times now. And it's like I get more used to it. And I enjoy going for like the day or two that we go. But some people like that fast lifestyle. Hayden likes that fast lifestyle. Tim does not like that fast lifestyle. He likes the country, a little bit slower, take it easy. But, I mean, you got to adjust the way you live out there, the way you function.
No, I know that it was June, but everything there is hot.
Yes.
And the air conditioning doesn't work anywhere.
That's true.
And so when we went to Arizona...
The elevators are fucked up, too.
Oh, yeah. Caitlin got thrown up in the elevator.
That's true. But what's funny is, like, hotels' selling point to you is we have elevators that work. And people.
This one had 4.
And we didn't understand what that meant until we got a hotel where the fucking elevators didn't work and you got to walk 30 or 40 flights.
3 of the 4 were broken. All 4 worked when we arrived. Within an hour of us being there, 3 broke.
Isn't that concerning, though, if you think about it, that elevators are fucking up that much?
I just feel like it makes me not trust elevators.
Do you think it has some sort of safety protocol on it?
Sure it does. I mean,
where it's like, hey, if I fuck up, I'm just
gonna stop right here.
Yes, I would rather it stop than fucking.
I mean, I had never seen a skyscraper, and the idea of being in an elevator. I remember one time I was in an elevator in Atlanta. It was at the Marriott downtown, and it's one of those elevators that's glass, and it looks in over the courtyard. I don't like heights. And so I'm riding up in this motherfucker, and I'm like, Sam is all like banging on the glass and happy. And I've never, the tallest building in Nashville is 30 floors.
Is that true?
That's the cap, is 30 floors.
What building is
So
it?
the Batman building is 30 floors. And I've been to the 28th floor of the Batman building and the 29th. I got to go to the 29th. It's a little bit taller because it has the Batman stuff, and there's another building that's 30 floors. Anyway, so we're riding up, and this hotel in Atlanta is like 50 floors. I didn't know this was a thing, and we were on like the 31st floor. I'm fucking flipping out. And Caitlin's not. Sam's just jumping up and down.
Why is he doing that?
Because he's a cunt.
Well, he's also young. I guess he doesn't
Well, yeah, this was a long time ago. I think this was before Oliver was born.
I don't know that calling your son a cunt is probably the best thing to do on something that nobody's going to hear anyway.
I mean, if he's acting like one, and in this situation we are talking about, he was being one.
Yes. Yeah, I would agree.
I will call it as I see it.
You have to probably... How old was he?
Oh, I mean, I didn't tell him that he was being a cunt. He was probably like 4.
Well, no, you can't call him that if he's fucking 4 years old.
All right, he's 15 now. Can I call him a cunt now?
Yes, that's probably acceptable.
As long as we get this clear. He asked me if I was going to do your podcast, and I said yes. And he said, "Can I listen to it?" And I was like, "It's probably not going to be a good idea."
Has he listened to this before?
No, Sam doesn't care about anything that doesn't involve him.
Well, yeah, he's 15, of course.
He doesn't give a shit. He didn't care about anything. Oliver would want to listen to it, but definitely can't let him listen to it.
No, you would this is definitely not for kids. Anyway, go on with your story about the elevator and Sam jumping up and down.
No, that was pretty much it. It went off. I used the stairs to go back down, and I never went back to that hotel again the next day.
No, I don't. I'm not big on heights. When we went to New York a month or so ago, whenever we went, it was actually a cool view. We were on like the 25th floor, and that's probably about as high as I've ever been. You know, they got tours in New York where you can go to the top of the Empire State. Maybe we need to go and
I'd
do
like
that.
to do that. They also have that newer building or thing that has like that little triangle glass platform.
That'd be kind of scary.
I could see that from our hotel room when we were in New York, because I'm looking at it like, what the fuck is that? So I Googled it. Apparently it's a big thing.
Yeah.
All right, you got more pictures?
I do. What about this old guy here?
I mean, he looks badass there.
Yeah.
That's before you incarcerated him.
He incarcerated himself. Of course,
That's not what he told me.
he's changing history, which sounds about accurate with him.
He said he saw the writing on the wall.
Saw the writing on the wall, huh?
That you and Nikki wanted him out.
Well, I mean,
Yeah. Be careful. He might watch this.
no, I don't give a shit if he watches it or not. Actually, you know what would be cool is if I had him on here before he died.
I agree with this.
But I don't think that he would. Actually, he'd probably hear better because he'd have headphones on. You know, normally, like when he's.
Are you gonna go? Hey, Gene Harold, why don't you come be a guest on my podcast?
He'd say, "What? What's a podcast?" I'll be like, "Well, the kids call it a pod." You ever notice that? You notice how kids call it pods?
No, I've never. The first time I've heard that, I think was it Riley or Daniel that said it?
I don't know. It was probably me because I've
Never heard that.
I listen to podcasts. I was listening to Andrew Schultz on it was either Theo Vaughn or Joe Rogan, and he kept calling it pod, and I just wanted to keep punching him in the face because it sounds dumb.
Well, then stop doing it. You're just making it worse.
I know, but I'm trying to be cool and
Think
hip
of all the
with the
influence
kids.
you have now as an influencer.
I'm a fucking influencer.
You can have all this power, and the next thing I know, I'm going to get home, and Oliver's going to be like, "Hey, Dad, you got to listen to this awesome pod." I'm like, "Where the fuck do you learn to call it a pod?" Uncle Tim.
He might. All right, I don't have a picture of this or anything, but I was looking at 90s albums.
Okay.
And so there's a lot of them, and one of them that stuck out was Smashing Pumpkins' Siamese Dream.
Yeah.
Did you like that album?
I do like Siamese Dream. I went through. I think you do the same thing. You get a wild hair in your ass, then you'll go to a certain artist and you'll listen to their entire discography from beginning to end.
That's true. I'll do that all the time.
I did that with Smashing Pumpkins about 3 months ago. I did that with. I just finished a Real Big Fish run through.
I don't know. I can't. That's too much ska for me.
It was a lot of ska at once. I was overloaded a little bit.
You know, me and Jeremy always meshed pretty good when we were playing music because he was like Green Day, Real Big Fish, ska type person, and I was like kind of like the Smashing Pumpkins, Tool, all that kind of stuff. And we'd always kind of reel each other in from doing too much of that. But anyway, Siamese Dream, I was thinking of that, so I listened to it. And then I remembered how badass Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness was. Did you ever listen to that album?
Yeah. I literally just said yes. And actually, listening to that album is what made me go back to Siamese Dream and Gish before.
Yeah, Gish is fucking awesome too.
And then, so I started because I was doing something, and Tonight came on the radio, and I'm like, I haven't listened to this shit in a long time. And then I listened to Melancholy.
That's the worst fucking song on that album too.
I know.
And it's like,
Well, I don't like 1979 either.
I like that one.
I mean, I like the drum beat.
I was listening to Billy Corgan on Joe Rogan, he's on Joe Rogan a few weeks ago, and I'm just like,
Was he talking about his wrestling?
he is very big into
He
wrestling.
owns a wrestling.
Yeah, he's got like
NWA or whatever's around here.
organization, and that's fine. But I mean, after Adore came out,
William Corgan.
yes, he's William Corgan. I just shut the fuck up, Billy Corgan. It's like nobody gives a shit about what you have to say. Just go make some 90s like music.
Get some James Eha.
Yeah, get James Eha, get Jimmy Chamberlain. You know what fucked him up is when that guy died, and
And they kicked Jimmy Chamberlain out.
yeah, so their keyboard player died. It was the Melancholy and Infinite. It's like the height of their career. It's like the very pinnacle of everything that they've done. Their keyboard player dies of a drug overdose. You know what? That sucks. It happened, and Jimmy Chamberlain, the drummer, was with them. So they fucking kicked Jimmy Chamberlain out of the band, which those of you that know Jimmy Chamberlain know that he's one of the best fucking drummers of all time.
Yeah.
And they fucking kick him out. And then they make that album Adore, which I did like Adore. I thought it was a great album because it was thinking outside of the box.
I will give it that.
It's thinking outside of the box without a drummer, experimenting with digital shit, and then nobody gave a fuck about him after that.
Well, it's the same thing with all the bands from our childhood. Name the last good Green Day album. It's American Idiot. They haven't done anything worth a fuck since American Idiot.
Well, shit, between what was the album before American Idiot? There was a long stretch there that they didn't do anything.
Nimrod. Well, I guess there was an album between that and Nimrod.
Oh, no, there's all kinds of out here. Let's fucking pull it up.
But then, like, Weezer's another example of this.
I know.
Like, I can listen to Pinkerton any day of the week. But anything after Maladroit's fucking awful.
Well, Maladroit was like their comeback. Let's look at this Green Day album. So,
You know they jumped the shark whenever they did a fucking cover album. The Teal album's a cover album.
the Weezer did that?
Yeah, they did the Teal album, and it's all cover songs.
All right, so 39 Smooth, Kerplunk. So people don't really know about these, and that's
I
fine.
don't even know what the fuck 39 Smooth is. I know what Kerplunk is.
So you got Dookie. Dookie comes out. Biggest fucking album of like
94?
it's 94, but remember you had Nirvana and you had all these other bands in play. So it just fit right in. 94 was a good year for music. And then they had Insomniac, which was awesome. Nimrod was awesome. Warning is where Jeremy would probably agree that Warning is what fucked everything up because there's no guitar distortion or anything like that. The quality of the songs are pretty good, but the music-wise, they kind of fell off. Actually, I didn't realize that there was nothing between Warning.
That's what I'm saying, because that was like
American
their big
Idiot.
comeback.
Well, American Idiot was their big comeback, and it was a great fucking album.
It has a fucking Broadway show.
I know. 21st
Garbage.
Century Breakdown. So that came out in 2004, and then 5 years later, 21st. I've never
Rehab.
even listened to that.
You had to go to rehab.
I've never listened to Uno.
So
I've never even heard of these albums.
all right, so the thing with the 21st Century Breakdown, Uno Dos, and I think there's actually a Trace as well.
Yeah, there is.
They all have
Trey.
like one or two good songs, but everything else is complete and utter shit.
What the fuck is Revolution Radio?
I don't know.
What is this one? I've never even heard of this.
I've never heard of that one.
This one, for people listening, Father of All Motherfuckers.
Now, Savior, I've listened to.
I've never listened to Savior. That just came out
Yeah, it was garbage.
a year ago.
It was garbage. And I hate to say that.
American Idiot was a great album, and I was surprised because coming off of Warning, they went away from 2000 to almost 2005. It was about a year or 4 years between that. American Idiot was a really good album. I didn't even know that they released these. What is that? Uno Dos Tres?
Yeah, they're just like just back-to-back albums that all came out.
I mean, are they like full-length albums?
Yeah, I mean, look how far apart they were released. I don't know why they did that. Just fucking release a double album. This is the digital era.
September, November, it's like fucking 3 months. They should have just released one album.
Yeah, and I think they're all like 12 to 15 songs probably.
All right, so there's that. And then let's look at Weezer, because I want to talk about Weezer for a second. Because Weezer, like, again, that's not 1994 when the Blue album came out.
And I'll be honest, I go back and I listen to them, and I always start at the Blue album, and I don't get all the way through it.
The Blue album?
No. I get through the Blue. I'm talking about I don't get through the discography.
The Blue album is
transformative.
Yes, life changing. And then Pinkerton came out, and everybody fucking hated Pinkerton.
That's their best album.
Best album
There's
of all
a few
time.
things I will agree with Jeremy on.
Okay.
And he doesn't like anything after Matt left the band.
Matt?
Or Sharp, whatever the.
No, you're right. I'm just saying that he left after Pinkerton.
That's what I'm saying. He doesn't like anything after Pinkerton.
So I was real big into all the conspiracy theories. I don't think they're conspiracy theories. I think they're true, but
conspiracy theories over 90s geek rock bands.
Well, look at this. They released Pinkerton in 96 and it was a flop. It turned out to be a cult classic. So it was technically a flop, and then they released the Green album in 2001. Now, as a musician, all of the songs on the Green album are 4-chord structure, basic guitar solos, or just the harmonies of the
Yes.
And that was on purpose. And if
hated it.
And if you listen to all the lyrics, Rivers is basically saying, "Hey, I'm sorry that I'm doing this right now, but I have to do this to get back in," which that fucking worked because the Green album basically introduced like this whole new generation of kids listening to Weezer.
So what's hilarious about this. So that was in 2001, and I spent a year bitching about this.
Okay.
Because I hate it. I don't like guitar solos that are like that. I'm not a musician.
They were fucking, it was a poppy album and it served its purpose.
Now, you get down to May 2002 when Maladroit came out.
Hold on a second.
Oh, you're not done. You're not done with the Green album?
I'm not done with it.
Okay, go
So
ahead.
the Green album, 2001, they released that. Rivers is saying, "Hey, I'm sorry. I got to do this right now to get my foot back in the door." Because remember, they didn't release an album since 1996. Came back in 2001. And then between the Green album and Maladroit, Rivers was releasing all of the songs. Now remember, with music on the internet, like his record label did not like him. Like he would release all these different versions of what ended up being like all the songs that are on Maladroit, 10 different versions, like the Keep Fishing and all that kind of stuff, Dope Nose and all that. There was like 10 different versions of it that people, because he regrew his fan base. He got all of the old fans back. He's got all these new fans because of the Green album. It's poppy as shit. Maladroit comes out and fucking rocks your face off.
What's funny about this, Maladroit comes out. You and I had this exact conversation
Probably.
in the 200SX in the driveway of Old Man Studios when it came out, listening to it.
That may or may not have happened. Us having the conversation that we're having right now about how it's a badass album.
Yes, and how he's apologizing for the Green album.
Well, I mean, fuck. You listen to the Green. It's not like Rivers learned how to play guitar between the Green album and Maladroit, because on Pinkerton, he's fucking shredding it up on Pinkerton. You don't think so?
No, I just had to burp.
Maladroit.
I don't want to burp into your microphone.
I don't give a shit. Maladroit
Is amazing.
is amazing.
Make Believe is amazing.
All right, so let's look. 2002, Maladroit came out
I didn't realize they were this spaced out.
to 2005, so there's a 3-year gap, which in retrospect of it all, I would be satisfied because Maladroit was such a good rocking album with plenty of guitar solos that I would accept that it took them 3 years to go to Make Believe. And Make Believe was a pretty good album, but that's when I started kind of falling off. Kind of falling off. And you get to the Red album.
Now, look, before you say anything, I need you to know, I fucking love the Red album.
Well, hold on a second.
It's got Lil Wayne on it.
What it does have Lil Wayne on it. what I was going to say about the Red album is other people may do this too, but I always associate music with like a time in my life.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And so the Red album, Hayden, me and him were in my little Mazda truck, fucking driving down to the dump to take some trash.
You were like, I'm going to grow a mustache because Rivers did it.
I had the truck had like what year was that? That was 2008 when that came out. So it's still acceptable to have like a tape deck that went into a CD player or an iPod or something. I remember I had a tape deck thing that had the wire to the aux. And we were listening to Pork and Beans, and fucking Hayden loved that song, Pork and Beans. And that album was awesome. And it did have Lil Wayne. I forgot about that. Oh, yeah, here's a picture of the...
You were like, I'm going to rock a mustache and a cowboy hat because if Rivers can do it,
yeah,
I'm a dad. I can do it too.
Well, I never did that, but
no,
I could.
You were a pussy.
I couldn't rock a mustache like that, but all that to say, so 2008. So Hayden was born in. Let me look at my tattoo here. He was born in 2004. For those of you listening,
I could have told you that without you looking at your tattoo.
So that was 2008, and he fucking loved that song because it was kind of quirky.
Yeah, that's my kids. That song for Sam is "Ain't No Man" from Ava Brothers.
Oh yeah. Hayden also kicked drum hard.
Yeah,
because he did that.
He did it in the talent show.
Yeah, he did that in the talent show. But anyway, so the Red album was great, and then I haven't really listened to anything after that.
Ratitude's actually good too.
I've never listened to Ratitude, never one time.
Hurley has like 2 good songs on it, and then I can't get anything past that.
Never listened to Hurley. Never listened to Everything Will Be All Right in the End.
Don't even remember the White Album.
Wasn't the fucking White Album just like a? Wasn't that like a cover?
No, the Teal album is the cover. If you keep going, you'll get to the Teal. There
Pacific Daydream. I don't even know what the hell Pacific Daydream is.
I don't either. I mean, I recognize it.
It's in 2017. Like, we can't even use COVID as an excuse for this, not remembering it.
I mean, Teal album, fucking Black Album. I don't remember a Black Album.
Didn't the Teal album have like the
Yes.
Toto cover?
Yes. Because Apple Music will shove the Till album down my throat on my playlist because I like covers. I do like covers.
They all fucking look like Don Johnson on there. You see that?
Yeah, because it's all Don Johnson fucking music.
1980s.
Yeah. Don't remember the
Black Album. Never even heard of it. Let's see. I've never even seen that picture before. I have never even seen that. Okay, Human? What the fuck? I've never even heard of that. Okay.
That has a song on it.
Is that supposed to be a knockoff of OK Computer or something?
Possibly, but it actually has a couple good songs on it that play on my Apple playlist. Because Oliver will sing them.
Never even heard of OK Human, which if I had to guess...
The next one's Van Weezer. I don't know what the fuck that is.
I was going to say, OK Human has got to be a knockoff on Radiohead's OK Computer. And Van Weezer they haven't released anything since 21?
I thought they just recently come out with something, but if Wikipedia doesn't say so, then I don't fucking know.
I guess. But how depressing when you clear all of the bullshit. Basically, the 2 albums that I know are Pinkerton and the Blue Album.
That is kind of sad because there are good songs.
The thing is the Green Album is a great album if they didn't follow that. Just doing the good. If Rivers had just turned loose and just fucking shredded guitar on.
When was the last time Island in the Sun came on the radio and you didn't skip it?
Well, for starters, I don't think I've listened to the radio in 10 years.
Do you not? Well, I don't either. But do you not like on Apple? It has the
No, I thought that's a beautiful song. I love that song.
If it came on the radio and you had the ability to skip
it,
would you use one of your 5 skips on Pandora? To fucking skip it.
No, because I ain't cheap and I pay for a subscription.
I pay for 2.
Is that what happens? Is like you only get like 5 skips or something?
That's what Pandora always was. And I think that the way that their rights worked, I don't know they've ever been able to move away from that without having the premium thing. But if you listen to the free version, I think you only get 5 skips. And I am a skipper.
Well, yeah, I mean,
don't do it.
Yeah, I'm doing it. We needed to have a discussion about this.
How the first date that I took my wife on was with you and all of our friends to a Tool concert in a snowstorm.
Oh shit, I forgot about
She
that.
fucking doesn't. She had never been to a concert before, and she doesn't like any of this kind of music. And that's where I took her.
You talking about your current wife?
Yes.
She went with us to Tool?
Yeah, you picked us up in
I did.
the Jeep,
I remember that now.
and then we rode back with Ben. She was just terrified all night. There's no way she wasn't.
So, those of you that know me know that I'm a really big Tool fan. Joseph's a Tool fan too. Mm-hmm. You know what's funny about it? It looks like Undertow came out in '93, and you know I didn't really. Everybody knew the
Yeah.
Undertow or whatever, or what was the name of that song?
Sober.
Yeah, Sober. Everybody knew that song. And so remember, in '93, you were too young to give a shit at that point.
I was 10.
When that album came out, but we didn't start listening to that stuff until we were.
Anima was the first one that I listened to.
So that album right there, I can't tell you how many times I've gone back and re-listened to. Actually, I haven't listened to Undertow since then, but all of the ones after that, Lateralis, fucking awesome album. All of this stuff is way ahead of its time.
Yeah, and it's still amazing. Like, but when was the last time they released an album?
Well, that's the thing. It's like we were talking about with Weezer a minute ago. It's like Pinkerton and the Blue album stand the test of time. All those songs are awesome. Think about Say It Ain't So. Everybody knows Say It Ain't So. I don't care if you're 15 or if you're 45. Everybody remembers Say It Ain't So. You go back and listen to the Anima was 1996. And you play those songs now, and they still fuck your head up.
Yeah.
Like all the different time signatures and stuff.
Well, they write songs weird. They do everything weird. You know, their process of getting an album out is different than everybody else's. And everybody's process is different. I remember, and this is a recent thing, this isn't related to Tool, but when Matt Skiba joined Blink-182, it changed the way that, I guess I saw an interview where Mark's like, it changed the way that we went to the studio. So when Tom came back they're doing it a different way now.
Yeah.
Everybody records, but nothing is as weird as Tool. From what I've read, is Tool starts with the drums. They send it to Danny Carey. He does all the drums. No music, no lyrics, no nothing. The last person it gets to is Maynard, and then he writes the lyrics after all the music is done.
I mean, whatever they do, you can listen to Enema, Lateralis, 10,000 Days, and Fear Inoculum, and
That's the smallest discography of a 30-year band.
But the thing is every one of those albums, I like them just as much as the other one.
And there's not really a bad song on any of them.
No. It's like you're going through an adventure, because like if you play the albums from start to finish, it's
You're
like
going on an adventure.
it's all the dumb, there's like 2 or 3 minute tracks in there where it's just shit going on, and you skip it if you're just trying to rock your socks off or something. But apparently they got a new album coming out. Of course, remember we used to hear that all the time, because look, between 2000 or 10,000 Days in 2006 to Fear Inoculum in
13 years.
In 2019, we used to hear that like there's a new album coming out.
Yeah, but he's doing so many different things. But then again, when was the last time a Perfect Circle released an album? I can't remember.
Yeah,
Pussifer. Maynard's always doing something, or fucking making wine.
He is doing that. Danny Carey, man, he's the best, one of the best that there is.
This is true.
And you know what? I'd throw Josh Cobb up there as being
Josh
as good, if not better, than him.
Possibly.
Because Danny Carey ain't getting much younger.
Yeah, but he looks the same.
Yeah, he's fucking like 10 feet tall. And how old is he? They're like in their 60s. They're like 65.
I know. He's always wearing fucking basketball jerseys and shit.
I don't remember it being like that when we were kids. Like, I remember the music back then was like when we were kids and we were thinking of the shit that came out in the 70s and 80s.
Well, everybody was dead. Let's just clarify.
What do you mean dead?
Like the shit that like our parents listened. Well, not our parents, because mom didn't have the best of music taste. Fucking Michael
hold on. We'll talk about that in a second.
But like Led Zeppelin wasn't still around because John Bonham died. They never just continued.
Yeah, but I remember, how old were those guys? Like, how old was the guys in Led Zeppelin when we were fucking 15?
I don't fucking know.
All I know is these guys are like 65 years old and can come in here. Well, let me preface it with this. In the past 20 years, I don't want to say that because there's bands that I don't like. I don't give a shit about like Disturbed and Shinedown and all these, Nickelback and all those bands.
They all want to be Creed and you love Creed.
No, I fucking hate Creed. But all of those bands, it's like, I'll give them
They're commercially successful.
Yes, I'll give them the satisfaction of like they were commercially successful. Whether I like them or not, they were rock bands. But even in the past 10 years, there's no fucking rock anymore. Think about a band that's consistent.
It's just Foo Fighters.
That's what I was going to say. There's only the Foo Fighters that are consistently making music. And then Dave Grohl fucked up for half a second in his life.
I think it was half a second.
He's fucked up, but it just caught up to him.
But even then, like the last Foo Fighters album, I listened to it once. It was a great album.
You didn't listen to it anymore?
It just didn't be like, hey, I gotta fucking listen to that again.
The color and the shape is fucking life changing.
I mean, that album has more meaning to me than just it being a good album.
But
I remember us going to get the tickets for the show, the disaster that was, because like your Corolla broke down.
I think that the problem with this is I try to be objective in this, and I can't be objective because, like I said a minute ago, I make music attached to an experience. And so
that's why Sonic Highways, it has an experience that goes with it.
And I appreciate that. I wish that more bands did things like that. But I think that let's tell that Foo Fighter story. So what year was this?
Which one? Because
the one with bless his heart, Jeremy.
Okay, so there's more than just the show.
Well, let's just
getting the tickets. We were all piled into your Corolla.
All right,
this is back in the day when you had to go to Ticketmaster at Kroger.
Oh yeah, fucking you had to go to Kroger.
And your car broke down on 100 just past Loveless Cafe.
Over there, we pulled into Trace Side or whatever it is, and my car was sitting there. But we got the tickets.
We got the fucking tickets.
We got the tickets. What year was this? It was Color and the Shape.
I think it was 97.
I think
it was the Color and the Shape. Look up the thing and it'll tell you what year Color and the Shape came out. And I'll tell you what year.
Color and the Shape came out in 96 or 97. But it was.
I couldn't drive yet.
Yes. And Taylor Hawkins had just joined the band.
And you just had the Corolla. So it had to be like right when you were 16.
So anyway, we go get the tickets. It's going to be me, you, Jeremy, Clay, who I will say and you called me out on it.
I did.
You called me out on it because I was just fucking talking and I didn't think it through. I said that Clay passed away in 2021. He in fact did not pass away in 2021.
That was the rest of our family.
It was the rest of our family. Clay passed away in 2001, but the rest of our family did pass away. We had our father, our stepfather, our grandmother, and our brother.
Yes.
All pass away in 2021. So 2021's fresh on my mind. But anyway, a correction, Clay passed away in 2001. So we go to this show. Who was it? It was me, you, Ben.
We were in the purple van.
Jeremy, and Jesse.
Yes. I think that's everybody.
Jesse Laney. Jeremy McCoy, Jesse Laney.
But was Jeremy really there?
Hold on a second. I'm getting kind of still. He may listen to this and he'll be mad at me all over again from like, what shit? It's been like 30 years ago. But I would be mad. I would be mad at me. So we go to see the fucking Foo Fighters, and it was at the Vanderbilt Stadium. It was before they were even like big enough to do. It was
at Memorial Gym.
Yeah, it was at the Memorial Gym. So it like they weren't big enough at this point. They're fucking selling out arenas and shit now.
Wembley. 100,000.
Yeah, Wembley Stadium. Anyway, we go to the show. I don't remember anything about the show, but I remember it was fucking awesome.
Oh, I remember the whole show, and it was fucking awesome.
Because, I mean, they're fucking whipping out, like, you got to remember, their whole discography is great, but
at this point, it was just self-titled
and Color and the Shape, and they're fucking plowing through them, and the band was kind of like, you know, it's basically Dave Grohl at this point and Nate Mendel, and they just recruited Taylor Hawkins, stole him from Alanis Morissette, which was awesome.
R.I.P. Not Alanis Morissette, Taylor Hawkins.
R.I.P. Taylor Hawkins. That's definitely, that's some bullshit. So we see the show. And back then, I don't know if kids still do this now. Maybe they do, but we would stand outside of shows and wait to talk to the band because the band would come out because we were going to tons of shows back then, and that was something you could do. Kids,
because tickets weren't $180 for the shitty seats.
Yes, kids, let me know if you are still able to do that kind of stuff. So anyway, we go back to the what you used to always do back then in the 90s is you would go back to where the tour buses are, and you're like, all right, these motherfuckers will come out where the tour buses are, so we'll stand here and wait. Well, you and about 50 other people are going to stand out there and wait. Actually, 100 people will wait. And then, like, they would slowly start, you know, people are like, fuck it, I'm going home. And it's like, and it would end up dwindling down. By the time they came out, it would dwindle down to about 20 or 30 people.
We held strong.
We held strong for Foo Fighters, man. So Clay was there. And actually, I fucking missed all of this.
Yeah, you missed the most important part.
I did.
For Rusty, the most important part of the story.
So anyway, so let me rewind, and then we'll tell you about that. So we get out of school that day. It was on like a fucking Thursday.
No cell phones.
No cell phones. No nothing. And we're fucking excited. We're pumped. We're going to see Foo Fighters tonight. We go, and we get down there, and we're fucking. Are we in the building at this point?
We're almost there. We're still in the van at this point when we all realize it.
Okay, so we hadn't made it to the show.
We were close enough that there was no way in hell we were turning around.
We fucking forgot Jeremy. No, there is no defense for this.
No, you're a piece of shit. I barely knew him.
I know I am a piece of shit, but we bought the tickets. I
was like 14. I don't know if I can be blamed for this.
You were young. This is all on me, and I'll admit that. And I've had a heart-to-heart with Jeremy since then and apologize because it sucked. So we're pretty much down there. We can't turn around. Well, his Uncle Tim, R.I.P. Uncle Tim, took him down and met us there. So we were able to get back together.
Yep.
Watch the show.
Yep.
Enjoy the fucking show. Everything was awesome. Well, Uncle Tim fucking waited in the parking lot for Jeremy. I guess his mom made.
Hey, they didn't wait for you. They're not bringing you home.
Exactly, which I don't blame him. It was probably a good call because we're pieces of shit at this point. So Jeremy, it's like, all right, awesome show. Hey, man, I'm so sorry about that. We're assholes, blah, blah, blah. Jeremy leaves. Uncle Tim's ready to get home and get to bed. So we're fucking waiting. We're going to meet the band.
We have no parental supervision in our life.
Apparently not. We meet Dave Grohl and Taylor Hawkins.
They signed my ticket stub, and I kept that ticket stub in my wallet up until about 5 years ago when it got stolen out of my driveway.
Dave.
They were going to come sign the party wagon. The security guard wouldn't let them.
I think they were actually in the middle of recording There's Nothing Left to Lose because Dave just had gotten the tattoo on the back of his neck. He's got the Foo Fighters logo on the back.
He and Clay spent like 20 minutes talking about tattoos.
Yeah, him and Clay were talking about tattoos, and I'm just like, fucking Dave Grohl. I didn't know Taylor Hawkins at the time, so I didn't really give a shit. But like Dave Grohl was there, and it was awesome. They talked to us for a long time.
It felt like ever. I mean, it felt like an hour. It was probably only like 15, 20 minutes of our life.
I don't know. I think it was more than that.
Like,
because people were dwindling out. I mean, it was like,
well, it's not like Foo Fighters today. I mean, or Foo Fighters 10 years ago. I mean, this is like the beginning of the Foo Fighters. Like, of them being what they are. Because up to that point, their first album was just Dave Grohl just trying something.
Yeah, that's true. And Nate was there, and Taylor was there, and then Chris Shiflett wasn't there yet.
But Pat Smear was still there.
Pat Smear was still there. I think Pat Smear was there.
He was there, and then he left, and then he came back.
Yeah, that's true. But that was a great experience. We were young. We didn't have any sense.
That was a year that strangely changed my life because of one night when you were like, we're going to go climb the mountain. It was like summer.
We probably shouldn't get too much into that.
I'm not going to go too much into that. But old Freeman Hollis is like, you need to take your little brother with you.
Yeah.
And you're like, I don't want to take my little brother with me. He sucks.
Well, I mean, I wasn't ever like that.
He was like, no, you got to take your little brother with you. And that night, I saved Clay's life because he almost fell out the window of your Corolla. And I became friends with Ben and Clay and everybody else. And that changed my life.
Yeah.
So that was a very transformative summer for me.
Well, like, I think that's when, like, my friends became your...
Seventh grade me.
My friends became your friends.
Yes.
Is
And then
basically...
I lost all my friends my own age.
Yes. Which, I don't know.
It worked out great for me.
I was going to say, it was a good group of guys. And, like I've said this on this show before, that, you know, I did a lot of dumb things. We all did a lot of dumb things. But nothing near what a lot of the other people were doing.
I mean, you have 3 boys, and Jack's about to be an adult. He's basically an adult.
I would consider him an adult at this point since he's about to turn 18.
But I have 2 boys, and my oldest is just now 15. And I am thinking of all the things that I did at 15. And I worry about them. But then I realize with Sam is Nathan. Nathan didn't do the type of shit we did at 15 because he didn't have an older brother with older friends dragging him around. Oliver is the one that I need to worry about.
Well, what Nathan used to do, Nathan would go do dumb shit. Like, he told me this all afterwards. Like, he would say that he was at a friend's house or something, and then he would drive across the United States and do something stupid out there.
Well, I never had to lie because, you know, when I was 12, our parents got divorced, and then all supervision of my life stopped.
I know.
I never even had to lie and be like, I'm going to Travis's house to do something. No, I was just like, hey, I'm not here. Nobody was looking for me.
I was going to say something that was funny because our parents split up when I was 15 and you were 12.
Yeah.
You went to go live with our mom, and me and Nathan went to go live with my dad and our dad, not just my dad.
Yeah, let's clarify. I also didn't choose to go live with my mom.
But my dad used to have our dad used to have these funny ways of punishing me.
Oh, punishing me too.
So let me give you an example. Let me set the scene for you here, since I like to set scenes. He comes in my room. Hey, you need to clean up your room. And I don't do it. I got a bunch of empty Pepsi bottles and shit in my room. And so his punishment would be I have to sleep with the Pepsi bottles. I'm like, all right,
you got a room.
well, I'll just clean these Pepsi bottles up, 2 liters, not like little bottles, like 2 liters. Now, again, I'm like 15, 16 years old and, you know, not the cleanest of clean,
No.
but he make me sleep with him. Or let me give you this other example. We're living in a trailer. Tornadoes are coming. And I got in trouble and made him mad about something. So he would make me and my friends, which was like me and Ben and Jeremy and all these guys, he would make me go outside to smoke. I wasn't allowed to smoke in the house. I had to go outside to smoke. And so there's like tornadoes coming in the trailer where I have this image in my mind.
In the one spot in Fairview that tornadoes always hit.
Yes, I have this image in my mind of being outside, smoking a cigarette with Ben, looking inside while our dad is having a cigarette, sitting in his chair and waving at me.
So that trailer, I have two distinct memories from that trailer. One was I unfortunately started smoking at a very young age.
Yes, as did I.
And I had, I'd like to say it's because I have 2 older brothers, but they didn't get me smoking. It was other influences, which is fine. I mean, it's not fine. Don't smoke. It's awful. Anyway, so Dad knew I smoked because Mom found my cigarette stash one time and called. That was like one of the few times she called him to bitch about me.
Yes.
And so Dad's like, you can't smoke in my house or around me until you're 16.
Until you're 16.
I was like, okay.
I thought you were going to say at
like,
all.
All right, that's fucking stupid. I was like, so I turned 16, right? And so I'm sitting in his recliner. He's in the kitchen in the fucking trailer. Fucking trailer. No, this was at Old Man Studios. I think by the time I was 16, he had moved into Old Man Studios.
Yeah, I think
And
so.
so I'm in the living room in his recliner, and he's in the kitchen, probably making fish sticks.
That's true. We ate the fuck out.
And I light up a cigarette because I'm like, oh, I'm fucking 16 now. Fuck you. And he was like, well, what the fuck you doing? You know, this is non-bearded Freeman. Non-bearded Freeman did not like me.
He was scarier than bearded Freeman. He had calmed down after he had his beard.
He's like, what the fuck you doing? You can't smoke around me. I was like, you told me when I turned 16 I didn't have to hide it anymore. No. And then it was just that one time he yelled at me, and then it just kind of went away, and he didn't give a shit anymore. The other one was at the trailer when I was like 14 or 15. Again, I don't condone these actions. But y'all, because Keith White lived on the other side of the trailer.
Oh God, that was awesome living with Keith White.
But Keith White had that wet bar.
Yeah, oh yeah. He had all this Goldschlager and shit on there.
And he had Bacardi Clear. And I thought that I was just drinking water because I was already drunk and I was stupid. Again, I don't condone these actions. But Ben and Clay kept feeding me Bacardi instead of water. And so I was fucking wasted.
How do you not know the fucking difference?
Because I was 14 and fucking stupid. All right? Look, I'm going to die on this hill because I don't remember knowing. I probably knew, but I don't remember.
Yeah, but did you not get an inkling of when your throat was fucking burning?
But it was like late. I don't know if Dad was doing one of those parties he used to do at the Guard.
Which I want to talk about that in a minute.
But Dad comes home. It's dark outside, so it's obviously night. And he's like, I'm fucking drunk in his chair. And for all of Dad's faults, he was not stupid. He knew that I was fucking wasted because he had never asked me to do anything. But he was like, I need you to get all my stuff out of the car. And I'm like looking at him panicking, like, I don't think I can get up. I don't think I can get up. And I fucking stumble out to the trunk of that. I think he was driving the Plymouth at this point. That fucking Acclaim that all three of us drove.
The one before Nathan destroyed it?
No, the one before Nathan and you destroyed it, and then I bought it from Dad, and it didn't turn left.
Oh, yeah. Anyway.
That car. So I'm carrying all this shit in, and like, he knew that I was I was a wasted 14-year-old. And that was the way he punished me. But like, I didn't have a bedroom at the house. So like, I just slept on the couch when I was over there on the weekends because you and Nathan had a bedroom. I don't remember where Dad slept. There wasn't 3 rooms. There was 3 rooms, but Keith had one. Did you and Nathan like share a bed or something?
No, I slept on the couch, and he used to yell at me when I didn't put the sheet down on it, so I didn't get my ass.
So where did
all
you
over.
sleep when I came over? Because I slept on the couch. That was a terrible arrangement.
It was.
And I use it now because I am a divorced father. And so I make sure that my kids have their own rooms. Now, granted, I bought my. We'll get into that at some point, probably. but Sam's like, I don't need a room. I'll just sleep on the couch. I was like, no. When I was your age, my parents were divorced, and when I went to my dad's house, I had to sleep on the couch.
Yeah, and you didn't like it, so you changed it.
Yeah, I fucking hated it. So I want them to have their own space in my house.
So you'd mentioned the parties. So for everybody listening,
ooh, those are some rough times.
So our dad would, at the Armory, they had this big, this big gymnasium-like area. What is it called? Like the Hall of Flags. The Hall of Flags. And they would rent this place out to, I don't know, I guess to make extra money or whatever.
It's one of the things that we learned at a young age, the economic difference between people.
Yes. So I remember being 8 years old. And my dad would, so the National Guard would rent this place out, the Hall of Flags, and then they would have people that work there monitor and clean up the party.
And set up,
monitor, clean up the party. Ugh. And so the parties usually started around like 6, 7 o'clock at night. And it would go until it was supposed to be shut off at 12. I'll get to that, or 11. I'll get to that here in a second.
I didn't know that.
So,
because it never stopped at that point.
Nathan used to tell one of these stories that I'll tell. Since he's not here to tell it, I'll mention it here in a minute. But
and Nathan definitely took the brunt of this more than you and I did.
Well, I was there in the middle of it, but yes, Nathan had the majority of it.
Well, actually, but he had friends.
He did. So our dad would take these parties it's like a side hustle almost. And he would do them. There was a time like we'd do them every weekend. And so what he would do is he would usually set it up himself, or somebody at work would help him. But then it would be on like a Friday or Saturday night, and then he would have to monitor the party, just kind of walk around and police what's going on. And this place is big. It's like the size of like,
oh yeah, it's big. I mean, it's still there and it's still big.
it's like the size of a few gymnasiums.
Yeah.
It has a
It has
big stage on it, everything. Red Hot Chili Peppers played there in their early
I
days.
saw Red Hot Chili Peppers there, and I saw Brooks and Dunn there.
Brooks and Dunn, Faith Hill, Tim McGraw. I saw all those people there.
That's where people cut their teeth when they're first starting out in the 80s.
Yes, those are the good ones. But usually our Laotian friends and our Mexican friends would rent the place out because I guess they get it for cheap. That is where I learned my work ethic. I mean, there's nobody that has been 8 years old cleaning vomit out of a sink of the bathrooms there.
The Hollis boys have.
Yes. People, I used to tell people, I'm like, well, just picture this. Someone takes a beer and cracks it open, and they're so drunk, they just pour it on the floor.
That's not the way that Freeman explained it to you.
What do you mean?
The Freeman Hollis version of that story is, so the reason that Laotian parties changed to pony beers, the little short, like 8 ounces.
Oh, yeah.
And he'd be like, well, what they do is they crack the beer, they take a drink of it, and they're like, oh, fuck it, I want to go dance. And they just throw it over their shoulder. That's the Freeman Hollis version of that story.
Yes.
Which I believe, because he didn't let me go into the parties until I was a little bit older.
Well,
I just rollerbladed around.
oh, yeah, that was fun. God, I forgot about that shit. That connects to what I talked about with Daniel.
Yeah, so the best part of these parties, and you can finish the stuff about the parties, is from setup until cleanup. As Freeman's children, we had free reign to do whatever we wanted around the National Guard, and so I would rollerblade or bring my bike.
Remember that fucking hill that was there?
Yeah, and
we were
it
all
had the
scared of?
helipad on it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
But anyway, so the parties, picture this, like Nathan would stay down there, him and his friend Jamie, he had a friend Shay, and they had this, like, his group of friends, which was an awesome situation because my dad would pay them,
oh yeah,
$100 to go and help them or whatever. You couldn't pay me the amount now.
Nope.
But I'll never forget being 8 to 10 years old, my mom coming into my bedroom saying, hey, get up, we got to go help clean up this party. Because it would end at 2. Well, it's supposed to end at 11. But what my dad would do was some shady ass shit. And he would go and like he was told to do is he needs to go in there at 11 o'clock or whatever and just fucking turn the lights on and shut it down. Remember, a lot of these parties, like we used to call it, well, the big one was a Laotian wedding.
Yes.
That was the one where it was like,
they didn't want to shut down.
and they didn't want to shut down. So what my dad would do is he'd go over there and he's telling whoever the coordinator is, hey, I'm turning these lights on. He walk over to the breaker box, about to turn it on. And the guy's like, no, Mr. Hollis, no, we want to party. And so what my dad would do, I don't know if you knew this.
I know, grease these palms.
My dad would say,
I mean, this is some mayor of Kingstown shit.
yeah, he's like, you want another hour? Well, that'll be $1,000 or $500 or whatever.
I don't know with inflation. I mean,
I don't know how much the amount was, but
I don't know how much he actually made on these parties. I mean, it had to be a lot because he did it. Until
I think
he
it
could
was like
physically not do it anymore.
$500 or $600. It wasn't fucking worth it.
God damn it, he would pay all of us. Well, I was expensive. I was expensive.
Oh, hold on, I'll tell you about that. So he go and he's about to turn the lights on. He's like, no, Mr. Hollis, no. He's like, oh, okay. So we give him $500 or $1,000. You got 1 hour. Okay, thank you. But everybody's fucked up. So my dad, so at 11 o'clock, there's that conversation happening. At 11:30, my dad goes and flips the lights on after he's already been paid. So he like fucks the guys over. And then he calls my mom from his office phone because there's no cell phones at this point. Hey, it's over. Bring the BB gun. Remember that shit?
Gotta shoot the balloons.
You gotta shoot the balloons because this is a gymnasium and the ceilings are really high.
None of these things are good.
I know none of this is good.
I still have the BB gun.
So I don't know. There's something about being woken up at 2 o'clock in the morning, having to go clean vomit out of a sink that is not appealing.
I always got put on parking lot duty in the fucking winter.
Oh God.
So I'd be on my rollerblades, like picking trash up.
We'd have to clean. Yeah, we'd have to clean up the parking lot where they would go.
Sometimes he'd make us clean up the cigarette butts in the breezeway.
Yes, I remember saying to him, because remember, we were all in fucking DARE, drugs and alcohol.
You mean where we learned about drugs?
Where we learned about drugs and alcohol. And I remember asking him at a young age and say, hey, how are these people driving home? Because you're not allowed to drive.
I never even thought about that, but you have a very valid argument here.
I said, I remember asking him, I said, how are these people driving home? Because they're too drunk to drive home. And you know what he told me?
It's not his problem.
No. And he told me, and I believed for fucking years that this was a thing. He said, when they're ready to go home, they all carry a vial of some kind of liquid that they drink and it sobers them up. He fucking told me that.
I need this vial.
I know. Fast forward to us now. I was like, yeah, hell yeah, I need that vial.
Like, that's a game changer.
So all this time when he was just fucking telling me to
I mean, this went on until, he didn't do them. When I was able to drive, he wasn't doing them.
He was just pacifying me by telling me that. But I thought all the way up until I was like 15 that you could take a liquid that would sober you up.
I mean, we just go dig his ass up. I need an answer to this.
So anyway, so that's the kind of shit that he would do. And this was every fucking weekend we'd have to do this stuff.
And then they started cutting him back and they started splitting it between other people.
Well, other people wanted to do it. I think
they wanted the extortion.
I think after our parents got divorced that he wasn't really doing them as much anymore.
I think he stopped doing them. He started cutting back heavily after Nathan's accident.
So Nathan had an accident coming home from one of those. He was driving by if you picture you're coming into Fairview and you're over there by the Natchez Trace area there with that little barbecue or whatever place they got there now.
It's just Loveless. Loveless owns the
gas station. Loveless owns all that. You're past Loveless if you're coming west towards Fairview. And if you were to just go straight, there's like
it curves left.
It curves that you're supposed to curve. Well, Nathan fell asleep with him, our friend Wesley Waters, and Jamie Norville. Wes was in the back seat, Jamie was in the front, and Nathan, like, just instead of curving left, just went straight into that fucking tree. And that was like, I think that was probably one of the most life-changing things in our family, because he was in the hospital for like, God, he was in there for a long time.
And he wasn't the same when he came out.
He wasn't the same when he came out.
I don't think he and I legit got along.
He basically,
the rest of his life.
They think that the
engine hit him in the face.
He shattered his face. He was in the hospital, had a bunch of surgeries, and
let's not gloss over one of the important parts of this is that was on your birthday.
It was on my birthday. It was on my 15th birthday. No, 14th birthday.
Because he broke his back on his birthday.
So he hit this tree, totaled the car, and my dad had a bunch of bottles of Hennessy in the back. And so they thought he was drunk because all those bottles busted, but he had just fallen asleep. And the old man explained to the cops that he was working this party and he was carrying it home or whatever. But he was in the hospital, had his mouth wired shut, all the stuff after that, having to drink through a straw. But Nathan was like the most popular guy in school. Or, no, I don't want to say that. He was friends with everybody.
I guess so. I don't know. I don't remember pre-accident Nathan.
Well, I do. And he was like the cool guy. He was different than, like, you know how there's like the popular people and then there's the not the popular people, but Nathan like mingled with all of them. He was like a better version of us. He was like a better version of us. And then after that accident, he just kind of got fucked up.
I don't know. It's weird with Nathan because, he was my brother, so obviously I loved him, but I've never in my entire life been close with Nathan in any way, shape, or form. You and I have always been close, but I was never close with Nathan.
Well, I think that we wouldn't have been close if we didn't have the same friend group.
That's possible.
But with Nathan, it's like I had a close relationship with him different than like what we had. But that accident, and everybody would tell you, the old man would tell you, now, all of our family, even Gene, everybody, Mom, everybody thinks that because of that accident, he's not the person.
I mean, he was fucked up.
He was. I mean, saying some dumb
I still
shit.
and it's sad, and I hate to say it because he is my oldest brother, but I can only like recall like one good memory with Nathan in my life, and it happened after Dad died on the way out to Iron City. I don't remember ever going anywhere with him. I remember he had a landscape business for a little while, as Nathan liked to go into small things, and I was like, it was summer. I needed to make some extra money. I didn't need to make extra money. I was like 14.
You needed to make some money.
I might have only been like 11 or 12.
He'd fucking have your ass out there weed eating while he was out there.
I remember he took me to a house, and I only worked with him for one day, and I knew that Nathan and I could not coexist. So I was working for him one day, and he pulled up, and he's like, "I need you to put all that dirt right there in this trailer." I'm like, "Well, that sounds fucking awful. All right, I'll do it." And then he pulled out a lawn chair, and he sat there and watched me, 11 or 12-year-old me, shovel all that into the back of his teal Chevy. Yeah. I might have been older than that. I might have been like 14. It was when y'all lived in the trailer.
I don't know.
It was when y'all lived in the trailer because that's when he had his teal truck, which
that's probably.
I was probably way too old to let this scenario play out. And I'll never forget that. But then, when Dad died, he and I did a few things, and I thought we were becoming like legit brothers, and then he died. So
yeah, well, that's me and Nathan had a pretty close relationship because after our parents got divorced, like me and him lived together, so we obviously had more of a relationship, more background than you and him would have. But like I learned over the years how to deal with Nathan and deal with his crazy.
Yeah, I don't have the patience for it because he was fucking crazy.
He was crazy. I don't know. It's hard to explain because he was different after that accident. And I don't want to be that person because everybody's like, "Oh, he's different now." Yes, he was different. He's more fucked up.
Well, before the accident, he wasn't exactly nice to me. So after the accident, he just continued to not. But
yeah,
I was a little. I get it.
But you were young.
I was the youngest brother.
Yes, you were young, and
I was the youngest of 3 boys.
Yes, and so I think that past stuff, yes, that's brother stuff.
I mean, but granted, and I tell Caitlin this, and in my previous marriage, I would tell Virginia this, and nobody ever believes me when I say, yeah, but growing up, we all never physically fought. You and Nathan had one fight
where he pushed me out the fucking door.
He knocked he knocked your breath out in front of the waterbed in
the waterbed
in our parents' bedroom. And then he threw you through the storm door because Mom was at the Lane's house.
Yeah.
And I called her. I'm like, I don't know what to do. Nathan's beating the shit out of Tim. And that was quite literally, you might have different memories, but that's quite literally the only fight I remember us having. I mean, you and I had a verbal altercation one time.
I remember Nathan fucking throwing me through the door.
But that's it. I mean, I feel like, Caitlin tells me stories of her older brother torturing her.
Yeah, but you never got to that, because I left that house over there on Fairlawn when I was 15. So you were what?
12.
You were 12.
I was 12 when y'all moved out. Nathan was 18.
It was actually a fight for Joseph back then.
The judge asked me where I wanted to live. I said I wanted to live with my dog. Mom got the house and the dog, so she got me.
Well,
she got the fucking lottery.
Well, old man probably would have had your ass, but he knew that she was crazy. And so she allowed her to take you, and me and Nathan went with him.
I'm glad that I was used as a pawn.
You were used. Well, actually, all 3 of us were. As is
the one that tried his best to stay, neutral throughout the whole thing was the biggest pawn.
Yeah, but you're fucking 12.
I get it.
How neutral can you be?
I mean, whenever we were cleaning out the house and so, this podcast is like the Fairview social. I moved out 20 years ago, and I had an opportunity to, when Mom got remarried, she offered for me to buy our house.
Bet you wish you didn't.
To this day, I have a couple of regrets in my life, but that's probably like top 2. Oh yeah, that's top 2 regrets.
So what'd she say?
I could have bought that house on Fairlawn for $42,000.
Basically what she owed on it.
That's all she wanted. And I said, no, Mom. Well, let me think about it.
You said, I'm getting the fuck out of here.
No, because that's what you tried to say.
That's
No,
true.
I said, Mom, I was like, look, I appreciate the opportunity. I just don't think that I want to buy the house that I grew up in. And this is 20, early 20s me. I don't want to buy the house that I grew up in. Now I'm looking back on it and I'm like, well, one, I fucking bought my father's house instead of my mother's house in Antioch.
Yes.
So I didn't make the right decision. And she was like, okay, well then I'll just sell it to somebody else. And to this day, I could have had a house in Fairview for $42,000.
Yes. We all make those kinds of decisions.
No, that's a pretty big mistake.
Yeah, it's a pretty big mistake, but back then it's like you didn't have any intentions of staying in Fairview, just like I talked about on the other podcast. I was going to fucking leave, but
I'd love to move back. I love it here. I love coming out here. I don't come out here often. It's just, I'm a home person. I don't go out much. But I would love to live here. My kids live with their mom full-time, or not full-time. Well, we share custody, obviously, but they live in Gallatin. And my wife is from Gallatin. Her entire family is in Gallatin. And like Gallatin makes the most sense, but I just want to move to Fairview. And everybody's like, no, it's too far.
yeah, but it's awesome out here. I mean, I've always stayed. I don't know what things would look like if Nikki wasn't on board and we didn't stay here, but
I mean, you have quite literally never moved out.
no, never. I've lived in like 20 different places too.
And it's not like I moved to fucking Wyoming, which for the record, I'd love to move to Wyoming, but it's not like I moved out of state and then I just came. No, I've just stayed like 30 miles away. I moved to Spring Hill, Franklin, Antioch, Nashville.
I'll give it to Nathan. He at least tried to move to fucking Florida for like,
Yeah. And then as per Nathan's usual thing, he runs out of money.
yes. Well, then, so he runs out of money and then he breaks his back working for Brinks. I think they settled for like $250,000.
Way too much money for him to die as broke as he was, apparently.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, he made a lot of money on that. And
Well, it's what happens when you don't have a consistent job at any point in your entire life.
that's true. But I mean, he moved out like when he passed away, he was living in Franklin. He had that condo in Franklin.
Which his condo was very depressing.
It was very depressing. I didn't like
But he
it.
lived like right across the street from Daniel.
I don't know that. Yeah, he did.
Have you ever been to Daniel's new house?
I've never been inside of it, but I know where it's at.
Daniel's new house is nice.
I don't know. I don't know. Living in Fairview, the only reason I haven't left is because I had a family early. I probably may have left if I didn't get married so young. But like even now, it's like I don't have any desire to leave.
Well, like I was, Rico came over to my house for the first time yesterday for us to work on his car. And to anyone listening, I bought my father's house, which was our grandmother's house before that. And so it's like got a lot of history for us growing up. We spent all of our holidays there every other weekend with our grandparents. And I'm giving him a quick tour of the house because, I'll say, hey, my house has a big garage. And everybody's like, oh, yeah, you just have a normal. No, I don't have a normal 2-car garage. It legit has a big garage.
Yes.
And so, like, I'm showing Rico, and I'm like, I don't think I'll ever sell this house. Like, I fucking hate living in Antioch. But this house has so many memories for this entire family. Playing Uno, all that kind of shit. And I'll never be able to replicate this garage. And I'm poor. So
How was it that when we were kids, and everything's bigger when you're kids, but
you're going to ask how everything fit in there.
that house, and then there's about 100 people in there. You roll up in there on Christmas Eve. As soon as you open the door, you can't even fucking see anything because there's so much cigarette smoke. People eating, and and you're not allowed to go into that front living room, which that's where you and Caitlin basically live your lives, in that room that we were never allowed to go into.
Well, I know. Well, we don't live our lives in there. We turned the den that we actually hung out in as kids with that green carpet. We gutted that and we turned, and credit to Roger and Eric. They did a lot of work on that house, like a ton of work, especially Roger. I mean, he was a life changer on that. But we turned that into what's called the murder den because we're lame and we play a lot of video games. So it's got 2 TVs and everything. And then we have
That is pretty lame. You're a fucking adult.
I get it. But my children fucking love it when they come over. it also, we lived in that house on 37th Avenue that was 800 square feet. So it was 800 square feet. My oldest son's a giant.
He is.
And so there was the four of us, and then we had 3 cats and 4 dogs in 800 square feet. And we moved into this house that's almost twice the size with an actual backyard. I mean, it's a game changer for us. I can't imagine. And I know that square footage wise, I think your house is the same size as mine, but your house just seems so much bigger.
It's probably because we have 2 floors. I mean, it's funny because, like I said in the last podcast, we moved here because we needed more space. And it's like, it was awesome back then. When the kids were younger. Now it's just like literally the 3 of us. Gene lived down at the bottom there for, it was probably about 3 years he lived down there. But since he's left, I've gone down there like twice.
Like I was talking, before I came out here today, Caitlin and I were talking. I don't know that I'll ever sell this house. We might move. We might move to Gallatin one day.
Keep it for a rental.
And I will. I mean, I have, one right now. I have so much equity in the house, and I'm fine. But
You thought that Nathan was trying to fuck you on that.
no, Nathan 100% did fuck me on that.
No, he didn't fuck you on that.
No, that's all Nathan does.
Well,
And
I mean,
it's
then,
fine.
then that would mean that you thought that I fucked you on it too.
Oh no, you just went the way that Nathan spoke on that one, and it's fine. I mean, I don't have any regrets on the house situation because, I wasn't in a position to buy what I needed, and it put me in my life is much better living. Now the gunshots in the middle of the night, it gets a little old, but I'm well armed, so
Yeah, living in Antioch, you got to be prepared for anything.
And I don't live in a good part of Antioch, but maybe I wait it out. I mean, the house has almost doubled in value since I moved in.
Yeah, I mean, everybody wants to move out to these outer parts, whether it's in Antioch or out here in Fairview. I mean, hell, just in the past 5 years, the house here is like doubled in value.
Yeah. I mean, my house is, if I could pick my exact house up and just move it somewhere else, like the house is perfect. The yard is perfect. It's the perfect size. It takes me like 2 hours to like legit mow and weed eat everything. Like that's perfect for me. I don't need anything more than that. Now, I would love to live out of city limits where I could have like a shooting range and shit, but that's like dreams.
Yeah.
So I don't have to go somewhere to shoot guns.
They're putting a shooting range here. Everybody on the Facebook page is bitching about how they're putting a shooting range out here back behind the back of Bowie.
Is it an outdoor one?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Maybe it is. I'm not real sure.
I'll have to look into that.
You should look into that.
I just need somewhere out. I'd like to shoot outdoors.
All right.
What else you got for me?
I don't know. What else you want to talk about? I mean, we got, how old are you? 40?
41.
40. Yeah, 41, 40.
Or am I 42? No, I'm 41.
Are you sure? Because I thought you turned 40.
No, I turned 41.
Well, maybe that's true. I guess you did turn
83.
41.
That makes me 41.
I'm 81, so that makes me, I fucked this up.
You did fuck this up because I remember you and Daniel talking about this before the podcast.
Well, I was trying to remember, I was trying to think. I'm like, where the fuck is Tom gone?
Oh, you're just fucking old, man.
I am getting old.
This is how it goes. I waited till I was 40 to decide, maybe I should get into shape.
Well, yeah.
And I didn't even decide that. Somebody decided that for me.
What, your wife?
No, Rico decided that for me.
No, Rico's probably been helping you out here.
Rico's probably done more for me in my life than most people have just in the last 6 months, just by forcing me to go to the gym every morning with him.
Well, I don't think he's forcing shit.
No, but
You just don't want to let him down.
yeah, I listened to you and Daniel, and y'all are talking about, we have these garage gyms, and going to the gym is awkward, and that's all true. And I would not do it if it wasn't for somebody who lives his life in a gym. I mean, he trains after work. He works with us, and he trains after that. And when I go on days that he doesn't go, I don't do half the shit that I should. But he pushes me.
Well, I mean,
And I've lost, just to clarify, I have lost 0 weight, but I've gained 0 weight, and I can walk around a property without dying. So,
well, that's probably pretty good.
like, I think the first time that really stood out is when Caitlin and I were in Arizona. We went on a hike in the desert, and it's never happened where I out hiked her, where she's like, "No, we gotta stop. I'm tired." And even going around Edwin Warner with the dog, like,
Out of all the things that you can do in Arizona, why would you want to fucking hike in a desert?
because we hiked up to the top of like one of their weird mountain shit that they have in the desert just outside of Phoenix to watch the sunset. I've never been farther west than St. Louis until that trip. I've never seen a desert. I wanted to see a desert. I got a picture of me next to a giant cactus. I got a fucking cactus tattoo while I was there.
You did get a cactus tattoo.
I fucking loved Arizona, and I also know that I went in February, so it was like 80 during the day and like 50 at night. But it was amazing.
I haven't been. That's the farthest west I've ever been. I think that I'm supposed to go to Anaheim
In September,
it's either August or September.
I think it's September for the Aspire.
For the Aspire thing, and that's probably the farthest west I've ever been. But the old man used to tell me, he's like, you get good deals, just take a flight, fly somewhere and visit it for a minute and come back.
He is correct. I don't have my flight to Arizona was a fucking disaster.
Oh yeah, that's right. They lost your bags and shit. It's like
They didn't just lose my bags, they lost us.
It's like the third time that you've flown or something.
It was exactly the third time that I had flown. And we did lose our bags, but I had an air tag in it. And then the flight back, well, my experience in the Phoenix airport on the way back was not optimal.
Yeah.
But I mean, when we were flying there, we got to the airport here in Nashville like 3 hours early, and we still missed our flight.
I've probably flown at least 1,000 times at this point, and I've never had any of those issues. But I will say,
You don't check bags.
I don't check bags.
But we had to.
No, I get it, and sometimes you have to, but it always causes some kind of issue, whether it's related or not related.
The flight back was fine. We was like, all right, fine, fuck it. You know, our flight's at 4:50. We're gonna get to the airport as soon as we check out of the hotel. And Caitlin gave me a gummy.
We're doing this.
Fuck it, I don't care. I mean, look, I'm not against it. I've never done it. Like
Okay.
a gummy. I don't. THC typically makes me vomit,
I'm aware of this.
so I don't do it. And I figured, you know, I'm in a state where it's legal.
She wanted you to calm your fucking ass down.
And so she gave me, well, she said, here, eat the rest of this. And I said, I don't want to do that because I'd eaten. So like the gummy that, God damn it.
All right, we're doing this.
So the gummy that she gave me is, it's like 100 milligrams or however you measure it. I don't know. I'm fucking stupid.
I was gonna say I don't know what any of that stuff.
I don't either,
means.
but it's divided into 10 milligram portions.
Okay.
And so like a couple of nights before that, she gave me 10 milligrams.
Okay.
It did nothing. So an hour later, I took another 10 milligrams. It did nothing. So the next day, like a couple of days later, we were getting ready to go to the airport. You know, we can't bring that shit back, or at least we don't think we can bring that shit back.
Well, yeah. I mean, doesn't that shit like the?
I figured it flags it. So she's like, well, we got to finish this last one. So I ate like half of it. I don't know, like 50 milligrams, 40 milligrams, somewhere in there. And
Well,
she ate the rest.
I don't know what any of that means, but
I,
okay.
I don't know. We're fucking lame. I can't answer any of these questions.
I mean, we ain't the kids.
So I didn't think anything of it. We get to the airport and we got there about an hour before we were allowed to check our bags. So we just went and sat in this, you know, on this bench for the hour until we could check our bags. And I'm sitting there and I look at Caitlin and I'm like, fuck. And she's like, what? I'm like, I'm fucking stoned. Like I hadn't been this stoned since I was a teenager before I started driving. So I'm sitting there looking at her. I'm like, I don't want to vomit at the airport.
So you thought you were gonna vomit?
The whole time, my only goal was I didn't care about anything.
So let's
else.
rewind for a second. Why do you think that you're gonna vomit?
Because every time I have touched anything THC related since, so I hadn't really done anything really until I came to work where we work now,
Okay.
because I always had random drug testing at my previous job. So I just didn't do anything because I didn't want to risk my job.
Yeah.
But I was in a legal state. I'd like to point that out.
Oh, noted.
So everything I did was legal. I don't know. I just didn't. And so every time I've done it since I came there, not in a legal state, I have vomited. In Myrtle Beach.
He vomited.
In Myrtle Beach, we ate and then we went and sat on the balcony and we smoked a bowl of questionable quality.
Okay.
And then I looked at her and I was like, I have to go vomit. And then I will go violently vomit and then I'm fine. I'm like, it's like rally and go, man. I'm ready. I'm fucking ready. I'm fucking ready to go
Rally
again.
and go.
Anyway, so I was like, I just decided at that point, I was like, all right, it's just not for me. I'm not against it, but it's just not for me. I'll just drink some beer. I don't particularly like being drunk, but I'll just drink some beer and I'll be fine.
Yeah, but at least with beer, it's like you can kind of gauge where you're at.
Yeah.
But I think that's probably why they number that shit now. Like 10, what did you say, 10 milligrams?
Well, this is also when we were in New York and when I went to DC. When I went to DC, I didn't even attempt. When we went to New York, we were there for such a short period of time, and we actually had specific goals, so I didn't track it down. And I didn't even track it down while we were in Arizona. It's just I left Caitlin on her own for 2 days while I was at this conference, and she was just at a mall, and they're like, "Hey, do you want to buy it?"
Do you think
Hey, little girl, you want to buy this shit?
Do you think she appreciates you telling the world this?
I don't think she cares.
The 16 subscribers that I have.
I don't think she cares, and I don't care. So anyway, so we're sitting there, and I'm sitting there holding my bag like this. Can you see me on the camera? Like I'm holding my bag like this, and I'm like, I'm fucking stoned. Like everything's like I'm fucking. I know that all of your listeners are probably like, yeah, I smoke weed all the time. I'm good to go because that's the kind of podcast you have. That's fine. So we go to check our bag, and we're getting up. And I'm like, I need you to just run this shit. And now she had a bigger gummy than me. So I didn't think about that. I was just like, I don't want to go in there like, oh no, you're high. You got to go over there. Like
The high people go to this line.
So we check our bag, and I have no recollection of checking the bag at all.
Why do you not have a
I
recollection?
don't know, but what I do have a recollection of is we're going through security, and I don't know because we're spoiled in Nashville. We don't have to take anything out of our bag. We just throw that shit.
I know those scanners are awesome.
So, but I'm like, I don't know if I have to take my iPads because I had 2 out of my backpack. I don't know what I have to do.
Yeah.
And like, they're not clear about it. God forbid you have a fucking sign that says, hey, take your computer out of your bag.
Yeah, I know. They just yell at you and make you feel stupid.
And so I get close and I hear the security lady yell at another guy. I'm like, oh God, and it's buried in clothes. I'm like, oh God, I gotta get all this shit out of my bag. So I get all this shit out of my bag, I get it, I'm going through security, and I step up to the thing, and I'm wearing the exact pants that I'm wearing right now. These pink, like, jogger pants.
They're fucking Joker pants. Here, get up and so people can see.
No, I'm not gonna do that. No, fuck you. I'm not gonna do that. Anyway, so she's like, you gotta take everything out of your pocket. I'm like, so I pull everything out of my pocket and I put my hands up. She's like, no, dumbass, you gotta take it over there.
What the fuck?
I'm like, okay. So I go and I take it over there. And so now I get through security, and then I look over and Caitlin's like getting searched. They're going through our bag. She didn't take our shampoo bottles out. So they're like, whose bag is this? And I'm like, I ain't answering that fucking question. I don't know what they want to yell at her about. And I see her getting searched because she's wearing a hoodie, which apparently don't wear a hoodie when you go through security if you don't have a shirt on underneath.
She didn't have a shirt on underneath
She
it?
did not, so they searched her. And I'm trying to get, and my dumb ass bought a brand new pair of high top Vans that I'm currently wearing that I can barely get on and off because they're difficult. And I get to the airport, and I'm like, fuck, I didn't put my slips on. So anyway, so we get through security.
Hold on a second. All of these things
Are stupid.
are fucking rookie mistakes.
Correct. Third time flying, first time doing it high. Come on.
Well, you don't wear a belt. You
I didn't
wear
have
something.
well, I'm wearing fucking
You wear something easy. Look,
I get it.
okay.
And I knew that I had fucked up, but then I realized, oh, my slip-ons are in my check bag. So I couldn't even change. So then I had an hour to think about that.
Again, no check bags for that reason.
I agree. And originally I intended on going to Arizona by myself, and there would have been no check bag. But 2 of us, we had to take it anyway. So we went into the airport. We got through security, and I'm like, "Huh, I didn't get arrested. I didn't get banned from flying back to Nashville." And then we went and sat at a Mexican restaurant and proceeded to get drunk before we flew back.
Okay.
So what I have learned is don't do any of the things that I did,
Yes.
and I'm good to go.
Well, I'm a little concerned that you throw up every time that you have any kind of
Apparently not on gummies, though.
Yeah. Well, I think that I don't know. I've never had that experience. Of course, I prefer the beer over that.
Oh, yeah, it's not for me. And I know it's not for me. And I only did it because I wanted to try a legit gummy. Like, I've had the fake gummies that we get around here, and they don't do anything. I wanted to try a legit.
So it's legal out there in Arizona?
Yes. I Googled it.
So you can just go to the store and just pick up whatever you want.
Yes, but apparently this particular dispensary does not take anything but cash.
So it's kind of like the lottery tickets.
I think so. I don't really know. Like, just legalize it and tax it, and let's pay for some shit.
Well,
But apparently their thing there in Arizona is they tax it, and they use the taxes for weed to clean up trash around the city.
yeah, they don't fucking do that.
I will say there was no trash around anywhere.
Well, then they must be selling a lot of weed. Then.
Well, absolutely, they're selling a lot of weed. There are people that exist just constantly high, and I don't get it. There are also people who exist constantly drunk. Also, don't get that.
There's people that I know that are they function better on all that kind of stuff, which I think is a real thing. There's the people that I don't think that weed should be illegal anywhere. It's no different to me than alcohol. I think that
Treated as such.
It needs to be
treated fucking arresting people.
It needs to be treated as alcohol. Now, my preference is to not do it because I don't feel like I have control like I do if I've had 2 beers. This is where I know I'm at.
Well, I don't prefer to drink Fresca, but I don't think it should be fucking illegal.
Well, maybe people that have gummies or smoke weed all the time are like, well, I know that if I have this amount, then I'm good to go.
I don't enjoy gambling, but I don't think it should be illegal. I just don't choose to do it.
I think but the problem is people get addicted to all of those things. Anything can be addictive. Same with doing fucking crack or
your mom can be addicted.
anything can happen.
I had to get one in.
Yeah, there's always got to be a your mom joke somewhere. My kids always like to have a your mom joke ready.
My kids are getting there. Oliver made a your mom joke to me the other day, and then he felt bad about it.
Where did your mom jokes come from? Because
originally or in our family?
Well, I know in my family, it's like we said your mom making fun of the dumbasses that would say your mom jokes, but then it's become like maybe those idiots that would say your mom were onto something because it's fun to say your mom.
So like for me, your mom jokes have a dark history.
Okay.
And it's not even our mom that is the dark history.
Okay. Whose history is it?
So I remember when Eric's mom died,
Okay.
I was a pallbearer at her funeral. And I accidentally
Said your mom?
made a your mom joke to Eric at his mom's funeral.
Okay. All right. Rookie mistake number 1.
And then I felt terrible. And Eric,
Well, hold on a second. Rookie mistake noted. Don't make a your mom joke about someone's mom's whose funeral that you're at and a pallbearer for.
So I felt terrible about it.
Okay.
But and to his credit, Eric didn't give a shit. He didn't be like, "Oh, fuck you. You made your mom joke at my mom's fucking funeral," which he had every right to do.
Okay.
But I made a decision at that point to never make a your mom joke to Eric again.
Okay. Was he upset about it?
No, he was not upset. And then
why would you close that door altogether?
Because I felt like a piece of shit. And so when our mom died, I looked at Eric at mom's funeral.
Okay.
And I said, "Does this mean that I'm good to make your mom jokes to you again moving forward.
What?
And he said, what are you talking about?
He's like,
And I said,
he's like, your mom jokes are available at any time you'd like.
I said, well, at your mom's funeral, I accidentally made a your mom joke to you. And I felt bad about it for 10 years.
What did he say?
He's like, I don't even remember that, but it's fine. And so your mom jokes are hilarious to make towards you. They were funny before she died because we had the same mother, but they became even more hilarious. This is awful. After she died, and it makes everyone at work uncomfortable that knows that we are both brothers and our mother is dead.
Yes, I think that normal people would probably be against your mom jokes
Probably in general.
In general. But I will say that in my family, there is a good, healthy amount of your mom jokes going around regularly with my children. Nikki knows that your mom jokes are about her, and she just laughs about it.
So I don't make your mom jokes to my children.
I do.
No, they make them to me.
I do.
But if I make your mom jokes to to my children, whose mother is my ex-wife, it can get a little weird. So I just don't do it.
It could be weird, but I do know that, like, when we make your mom jokes, the kids know that their grandmother has moved on past us, but they still think it's funny.
Nani gong.
And then when Nani gone, but then like when my kids make, when I say, usually it's me, when one of my children say something like Jack and I had this conversation the other day and I said, your mom. And you know what? That means my wife, his mother.
We are terrible examples for our children when it comes to grieving.
We are terrible examples to our children for everything.
That's, yeah. Yeah, that's right.
Grieving specifically, considering, I think about this often. How is the universe gone and taken out all of our family?
And we're the two motherfuckers left?
And we're the ones left that probably should not be left. I got to be honest with you. I feel bad if I got a phone call that said you had a heart attack and died, because then I'd be like, all right, well, I guess I was last man standing.
Well, I don't want to be I don't want you to be the last man standing. So I started going to the gym so that I would not have a heart attack.
You might have a heart attack because you're going to the gym.
It's possible. Some days I feel like it's going to happen.
But I always think, I'm like, okay, what if the roles were reversed? What if Joseph wasn't here anymore and Nathan was here? Would I have this much fun? No, I wouldn't. I mean, now granted, we work together, and honestly, I wanted you to come on and work with us so that I could see you more often than I saw you. Same with the old man. I wanted to be with see my family to some extent. Now everybody's gone and it's just me and you. And now, I mean, luckily we're friends on top of that.
We're carrying the Hollis family torch.
Nathan was my brother. I consider you my brother and my friend, which is I don't know. I mean, is that like mean something? I don't know.
It's a little gay.
I mean, it is a little gay, but I ain't trying to get down your pants or anything.
That's good.
I'm just telling you that
This ain't the White Lotus. I mean, come on.
that is kind of fucked up.
It's very fucked up.
But I just want to say that, like, I don't know. I'm not saying that I wish anybody in my family dead.
Well, no, but if we're going to be stuck with somebody, at least we get along.
Yes. And we work together, so we see each other regularly. Now, what would it be like? Because me and you both are pieces of shit when it comes to, like, hanging out. If we didn't work together, would we see each other? Probably not.
I mean, you've had 3 guys who are like genuinely good, emotional guys on your podcast so far. And then you have me on, and we're very emotionally fucked.
Yeah, I mean, you're a piece of shit. I'm not gonna lie.
I had to go tell my kid that I had to kill their dog a few weeks ago.
Okay, all right.
And I got out of the truck, and Sam was standing on the front porch, and I'm like, "Hey," he's like, "Oh, I'll go get Ollie. I need to talk to you." He's like, "Who died?"
You already know.
I'm like, "We'll talk about it." He's like, "It was Artie, wasn't it?" I'm like, yeah, Artie's dead.
Well, at least it was a fucking dog and not a person.
I know. That's what I thought.
He would be. Who was it? Uncle Jim or Uncle Tim?
Like, I don't want to tell my kids Uncle Tim died. Like,
No, I don't want you to tell your kids Uncle Tim died either.
I mean, I felt bad in 21 because every time I would call Virginia, I'd be like, hey, before I talk to the kids, I need to tell you, hey, my dad died. And then like 2 weeks later.
By the way, my dad died.
And then like 2 weeks later, like, hey, I need to talk to the kids. Wow, fucking Barry died. And then in July, I gotta talk to the kids again. Meemaw died.
I mean, it's kind of
And then it didn't fucking end. We were in Florida in October. Nathan died? Like, what do you mean Nathan died? And what's fucked up is Oliver doesn't even know who Nathan is still.
Really?
Never came around. We never saw each other.
Yeah, I guess that's kind of fucked up.
We would go years without seeing each other.
I feel bad about all that because like 2021 was like I don't know. I feel like I don't have any kind of like. I mean, I have emotions. I do. Our friend over here, Kevin, he passed away a year ago on Friday, and it's like I feel really bad about those things. But like, I'm not like lock myself in a room and can't do anything.
No, I still went to work.
It's like I went to work every single day. Like during the time that the old man died, it was like COVID protocol and none of you guys could go see him, which I kind of feel bad about.
I came up there. Nathan's like, I don't want to see his dead body.
Well, no, I mean like,
Nathan's like, I have my memories of him. I still want to be there.
I mean like through all of the, like he was in the hospital. Like you
2 months.
You fucking took his ass down there.
I did. I carried him into my Jeep in his underwear.
You took him down there and he was in the hospital for a couple months. And since it was COVID protocol, nobody could go in there.
And I had COVID when I took him, so I couldn't.
So I was the one
do anything.
Like I went in there every fucking day to see him. And I felt bad that like nobody else could, but I also didn't feel bad because I'm probably like Nathan in the sense of like, I would rather people have their memories of, you know, like one of the things I regret is like old man in there in his casket. It's like, you know,
They didn't look like him.
it's same with mom. It's like none of that shit looks real. It's always just fucking, you know, they're gussied up or whatever and look like this fucking wax figure. I think I learned that when Unal's husband Dick died.
Well, I learned a lot from Jerry about what happens to dead bodies.
Yes, because he was all about that.
He was a funeral home director. That's what he did for a living.
But I'm just saying that, like, yes, that's not the memory that you want to have of somebody.
No, and Dad was in rough shape. I mean, obviously he died, but he was in he didn't look like himself.
I don't know how to manage that in my mind that like, and I don't know what your fucking feelings are on it. I don't want to get into a debate about it, but like, I'm a big believer of like COVID was fucking overblown and all this kind of stuff. I think it was all bullshit. It's no different than the flu. But then I have two immediate family members die at months apart because of it. And so like, I struggle with that. All right. I don't know. I think that COVID was bullshit.
Well, no, I don't. Oh, well, let's clarify. I don't think that COVID was bullshit, but I think that. So when I took Dad to the hospital, you know, Dad was not a healthy person,
Yes, I agree with that.
and so I went and saw him the night before to take him food, and because you and me and Nathan were on a group chat, and he hadn't gotten his test results back, and I had. Like, I'd already gotten we got tested on the same day. He just hadn't gotten his results back.
But you'd gotten yours and it was positive?
It was positive, and we knew. We're not stupid. We knew because, you know, there's the whole isolation thing, and, you know, we're considered fucking essential workers. So I told you guys, like, he's not going to reinfect me. So we ordered him food from the grocery store. Caitlin and I had him. We ordered food. It came to our house, and then I took it over there like a chicken, like a roasted chicken, so he could just eat it because he hadn't eaten in like 2 days from when I was talking to him. And so I went over there on Saturday night, and he looked like shit.
What was wrong? Like, was he just like in bed or something?
He was in bed, and I knew. And then on Sunday morning, he called me, and Dad doesn't call. He's not a caller. He's called me. He called me twice, probably in the last few years that for things that weren't work related.
He hasn't called you in the past few years at all.
That is true. But before that, he called me to tell me about your accident in Mexico, which one day you're going to have to get that on this podcast because
I didn't figure people want to hear about it, but
everybody wants to. Rico is still waiting for you to tell him the story. Alex was like, "What do you mean he broke his feet?" I was like, "Yeah, you don't walk like that because he's fucking normal."
he walks like a penguin because he's a fucking idiot.
Anyway, so he called me on the next Sunday morning. He's like, "Hey, I need you. I need you to come get me."
He called you to tell you that he like admitting that he needed to go to the doctor.
So I went and got him. I went over there, and everything that I had bought him was in the exact same place that I left it.
He must have been pretty fucked up.
He was bad, and I'm like, "I'm gonna take you to the hospital right now." He's like, "I don't want to go to the hospital." I'm like, "No, you gotta go to the fucking hospital." He made me call his doctor, and his doctor answers the phone. And I don't like calling people.
Yeah,
I will do everything I can to avoid it. But I put that bitch on speakerphone, and she's like, "Hey, Freeman,
you need to go to the doctor.
how you feeling?" "Oh, I'm not feeling so good." And she was like, "Freeman, you need to go to the hospital right now. I got my test results back." And she's like, "I don't care about your test results." And so I carried his ass in his underwear to my Jeep, and I took him to Centennial. I dropped him off. They wouldn't let me go up with him because I had already tested positive. I walked in like I've got COVID. But so when I go back to, thinking it's bullshit, I don't think it was bullshit. I just think that people like Dad
Yes.
in poor, like we both had COVID at the same time.
Yeah.
And while I am in poor health, in my 30s at this point, I'm in poor health, but I'm also strong enough to survive things. Nathan was the anomaly in all of this.
No, I don't think so. I'll give you a little history on that, but I don't see that COVID was any worse than the flu.
Well, the first time I had COVID, I will tell you that it was worse than the flu.
I've had the flu and I've had COVID.
I don't know that I've ever had the flu.
Well, the first time I had the flu, I was living over at the Bacon's house, and probably have told you this before, but those fucking commercials for like Thermaflu or whatever. Yeah. It's like they got the people, they got their little blankets around them, and they're sipping their Thermaflu, and they fucking feel better. I'm just like, all right,
that shit don't happen.
No, I thought I was gonna fucking die for like a week straight. I thought I was gonna die.
I've never felt like I was going to die until I had the first time I had COVID. Now I've had COVID 3 times.
Well, good Lord. I had COVID one time.
I don't isolate. I just fucking live my life.
Yeah. You're the motherfucker that's out there spreading that shit around.
I'm not going around people, but like.
Well, whenever I had the flu, I thought I was going to die. I had COVID and I thought I was going to die. It felt like the flu for a day as opposed to a week. And so, yes, I think that the old man is in poor health, but think about 2021, all the fucking stars aligned and knocked them all out. So I do agree that COVID is something to be concerned about. Was something to be concerned about.
I don't know if you know this, but we don't give a shit about COVID anymore. Apparently.
No, nobody gives a shit about it, which makes me wonder, did we really need to give a shit about it back then?
I think we needed to give a shit about it. I think it just went overboard.
Okay, yeah, I can land on that.
I do think it was a thing.
Yes, it was a thing.
I think that it killed a bunch of people.
Yes, it did kill a bunch of people.
Did it kill as many people as they're saying? How much of that was attributed to the flu and people and depression and
yeah, but the thing is
giving up.
The fucking flu.
His dad just gave up.
The fucking flu killed more people. But anyway, the old man was in poor health, and so when you even look at the death certificate, it's like died of complications of COVID, which he actually died of like kidney failure and all that kind of stuff because
that's how they didn't give us the accidental death.
Yeah. Yeah, they didn't give us fucking shit. That's how they got around all that. But Nathan, for example, now Nathan had over the years, he was fucking just a ticking time bomb. I mean, he broke his back, broke his fucking face, had all these problems. He had staph infection a bunch of times, and I'm just I don't even know what that shit is.
But he legit, even though Dad died of COVID, he thought COVID was a conspiracy.
Yeah. I mean, I'm kind of land in between that. Like Nathan was like his pendulum was way over here, and there's other people is way over here. I was kind of in the middle.
Use common sense and things.
Yes, common sense with it. But Nathan had pneumonia a couple times a few years before that.
Didn't know that.
I've never had pneumonia. I don't know what it's like.
I did when I was 1.
Well, Nathan has had it a couple times. Well, he got sick with COVID. And then the pneumonia made him even more fucked up, which eventually killed him.
But he stayed on the couch without telling anybody for a week.
Yes. If he probably could have been saved. I mean, the old man had a longer stint with it all.
Diabetes, weak heart. I mean,
yeah, but the regret that I have is I was so numb to everything back then because I sat there with the old man every fucking day for like a month and a half while he was in the hospital, watching it all play out, which I hate. And then when it got to Nathan, that was January with the old man. October with Nathan. And honestly, I think that the people had just given up on the shit. Like the doctors and everything else. This COVID, they knew that he wasn't going to make it. I knew he wasn't going to make it, or at least I convinced myself of that. And it's just like they fucking write people off.
Well, both of them made their own decision.
Yes. Could Nathan have survived it? No, because I think that his immune system was weak because he had a lot of issues with pneumonia beforehand, which I just kind of wrote off because I'm like, oh, he's got pneumonia. That's what old people get, or you're coughing a little bit and then you're fucking fine.
That's what our 43-year-old brother gets.
I know.
And I think that's what gets me. It's like, Dad, I understand. I hate it, but I understood it. Nathan, I never understood.
Well, I mean,
and to clarify, Barry, our stepfather, didn't die of COVID, and Meemaw didn't die of COVID. She died because she was fucking old.
Well, I think she died of broken heart. She probably would have lived another year or two, but that kind of shit has effect on you when you're old as shit and that your baby died.
Mama.
But with Nathan, I think that if he hadn't have sat there for a week being sick, because in his defense, he'd had pneumonia before. COVID was just like that extra layer.
Maybe. I mean, we'll never know.
No, we'll never know. But
one, we're not doctors.
Oh, I mean, you're not, but I am. I might be a Google doctor.
We're professional landscapers, Tim.
That's true.
And I'm a grocer.
You are. But I feel bad about the whole Nathan thing because, I mean, he's a fucking asshole.
I mean, how do you think I felt? I was literally on a beach when he died.
Well, in your defense, I told you to go because...
And then you told me to stay because I was going to leave the kids and Caitlin there.
No, I told you to go because you can't change the outcome of what happens, but...
You want to talk about a downer while you're on vacation, though? Have your brother die.
But I do know... Yeah. I
don't ever go on vacation.
When he went to the hospital, he died a few days after he's at the hospital. But the second he went to the hospital, I knew he was going to die.
Yeah, that's what you text me.
And it's like, I don't like to say that, and I don't like to think that, but I knew that was what was going to happen.
So there's going to be people that listen to this and be like, this motherfucker's just cold. No, it's just real.
Well, I mean, I try to be a realist in anything that I do or anything that I say, but I knew back then that I knew Nathan's history of having the accident. It started with he broke his leg a few times for soccer, and then he had his face thing when he had the accident because of the parties, doing the old man's parties, and then he would get sick. He would get sick more than like any of us would. Like,
well, I don't. One, I've never broken anything. I've never been in.
I know, but you never knew that back when we lived at Old Man Studios original that he would get sick a lot. He got sick a lot, and it always took him out.
I assumed he just is a person, like his personality, he didn't want to fucking work.
Well, yes, and that is true. There is that part of it.
Everything is a get rich quick scheme.
Yeah, yes, he was that person. But I also know that like he legitimately got sick as to where we just fucking walk it off, just fucking get better.
Yeah,
it's a mindset. But he would be sick.
We got from our father.
Yes, but then he fucking died. And then that happened. So we'll wrap this up here in a minute, but I'll tell the story of my Mexico trip.
Oh, you're going to tell the story of your Mexico trip?
I will.
Oh, that's going to be amazing.
So I'd been doing mission trips for several years, and I'd never been to Mexico. And I went to Mexico with, I didn't know anybody there or anything like that. I went with a group that I usually go to Haiti with. I've been to Haiti like 20 or 30 times. Mexico, I'd never been there.
That was a bit of an exaggeration.
No, it's not an exaggeration.
You haven't been to fucking Haiti 20 or 30 times.
I fucking go there like 3 or 4 times a year.
That's not true.
You know what?
We get.
Do you want me to pull up the pictures of it?
That doesn't prove anything. I need to see your passport.
Okay, I'll fucking get the passport.
It's fine. But you have been to Haiti way more times than you should go.
Probably.
Anyway, so
that's a whole nother conversation.
We're in Mexico.
Let's go to Mexico. I fucking land in Mexico City. It's a sight to see. That night we go through Mexico and we stop at a place where you get tacos. I don't know if you know Mexicans, Joseph, but they like their tacos. Fucking fantastic.
I had the best tacos of my life yesterday, just for the record.
No, best tacos of your life were in Mexico.
No, they were from a Mexican convenience store.
Yes, that's the most authentic.
Yeah, they were amazing.
So go get off the plane, go get tacos, eat the fuck out of some tacos, which was awesome. Go to the place that we're staying. Beautiful place. One of the things I remember is there's like no light pollution, I guess they call it. You look up at the fucking sky because we're on a ranch. You see all the stars and all the things. It's beautiful.
I'm glad we're getting the positive part of this out of the way.
Yeah, because it's not positive after this. So the next day we get up. One of the things that we're doing is we're trying to get water from one side of the building to the other side of the building of this place on the ranch with this family, Thomas. Thomas is the guy that we're doing it for. And so this roof has like this, that fucking Mexican roofing that's like
the clay tiles.
Yeah, the clay tiles that's like riveted like that. And so my friend Myron, my friend and Pastor Myron, he was about to go up on this ladder and try to measure from one side to the other. In retrospect, why didn't we fucking measure it on the ground?
I don't know, maybe the distance is different.
Maybe.
Or y'all are just stupid.
Or we should have run the water on the ground around the building to the other side of it rather than on the roof.
Hey, retrospect is 2020.
But when in Rome, you do the fucking way that the Romans do it. So I go up on this roof, get on the ladder, feeling good about myself. The point that I always try to make on this story is that I always felt bad because I was in Haiti probably 20 days before then, fucking fat. No, it was like 2 months. Fat and out of shape.
At this point, let's be clear. You were still fat and out of shape.
No, I was fat and out of shape. But one of those points in your life where you're like, I'm going to do something about this. And I did when I got back from that trip. So I was about 2 or 3 months into feeling good, wanting to, more active. So I go up on this roof because I'm like, Myron, you're old. And I don't want you to go up on this roof. So I go up there and I'm standing at the top of the roof looking across the top. I'm like, well, hey, Myron, throw me the tape measure. So he throws me the tape measure. We're fucking with a tape measure. I mean, and this roof is pretty long. The tape measure is more than the 25-foot tape measure.
Have you ever heard of Google Earth?
Yeah. Well, I have heard of it, but I did not do that.
I mean, I just feel like there's a lot of bad decisions leading up to this.
Yes. And there's a lot of rules now with these trips because of me. So I'll go up on this roof And I'm like, I need to go to the other side. So long story short, I walk across the roof. That's that wavy roof. And I fucking fall through. And I'm caught with my arms on the side. And this is all split second. So in my mind, I'm like, I'll be okay. I'm just going to pull myself up. And then I fucking fell through and bam, hit my heels on the concrete floor below. It was about 12 or 13 feet. You see these motherfuckers like doing parkour and they're jumping off buildings.
I don't know. I don't get it. Physics, it doesn't make sense.
They do, but it fucked me up. I broke both of my feet. So I'm laying there on the floor. Like we talked about earlier. I'm just used to getting up and walking it off. I don't want to be the center of attention here.
I'm good.
I'm good. I try to get up. No, I can't get up. So then somebody on the ranch says, hey, we got a horse vet. You see, he's got an x-ray machine. He's like, he's going to bring his x-ray machine over and he's going to see what the fuck's going on. I'm like, okay, I'm going to be right here because I couldn't get up. He comes over and he's like doing horse x-ray on my foot. He's like, yeah, he needs to go to the hospital. Well, yeah, no shit. I need to go to the hospital. So they need to drive me an hour away. They load me up in the back of a Honda or a Ford Flex.
Oh,
take all the things out, put a mattress in the back of it.
And a fat guy. And they're driving. Now, you probably saw it in Arizona, but in Mexico, it's the same. It's just fucking straight, flat roads going 100 miles an hour. And I remember saying, we there yet? We there yet? We there yet? We finally get to Ciudad Obregón. Went to the hospital. Turns out I broke both of my feet. Fucked up. Your heels.
My heels. They
went down to Home Depot.
They went down to Home Depot and got some railroad tracks. This is what it looks like in my foot. I had about 10 pins and screws, plates, and all that shit in my feet. And then I had to sit there for a week in the hospital in Mexico. And then I found out I had to have a code word to get out of the hospital. And I didn't know what was going on. But it was, I don't remember what hickory. Hickory was the code word.
Was it hickory in English or hickory in Spanish?
It was hickory in English.
Because I would like for you to tell me what hickory in Spanish is.
Had to have a code word to get me out of the hospital. So it turns out that hospital was where all the cartels are fighting back and forth. And I was just like this American guy, and they took good care of me. They did what they could. The drug cartels would fight back and forth, and that was a good hospital to repair the fighting cartels. And so then I had to take 3 flights home. They're carrying my ass. Broke both of my feet. They fucked up my surgery in Mexico, and I've had 6 surgeries since then. So.
And you still can't walk worth a shit.
And I still can't walk. I walk like a penguin still.
That's a fucked up story.
It is fucked up. There's a lot more to it, but I didn't figure people wouldn't care to hear it.
Do you know what I've broken in my life?
Nothing.
I broke a toe when I flipped my Suzuki Sidekick at 16.
But they don't do anything for a broken toe.
Exactly. That's it.
I don't know. But that was the end of all that. And so
I remember I was sitting on the couch at home, and Freeman Hollis calls me. He's like, I answer the phone, I'm like, who died?
Yeah.
Just like if you call me now, I say who died.
I'll just text you when somebody dies if that works better.
We're just used to it. So I answer the phone and I said, who died? He's like, I need you to know he's going to be okay. I'm like, Jesus Christ, what the fuck happened? He's like, your brother had an accident. I'm like, what did Nathan do? He's like, no, it's Tim in Mexico. I was like, well, this is just fucking awful. I was like, do I need to go to Mexico? And he was like, I don't think so. I'm like, seriously, dude, you don't need to go, but do I need to go to Mexico?
So I got one of the infamous Freeman calls because he doesn't call anybody.
Yeah,
I was worthy of the...
He called me, legit called me at like 7 o'clock at night. I looked at Caitlin, I was like, Dad's calling. Somebody's probably dead. No, you just broke your fucking feet.
Well, Myron told Nikki that It's like, everything's okay. And she's like, okay, well, as far as I knew, everything was okay.
Well, if you start the conversation with everything's okay, everything's not okay. Because Vince called me one time when Virginia was pregnant with Oliver, and he's like, I need you to know that everything's okay. I'm like, well, then everything's 100% not okay.
Let this be a lesson to everybody that never start your conversations with everything's okay.
Well, we could go farther than that.
You could casually...
If I call you on the phone and you are not a customer, chances are somebody's broken or dead.
Well, then maybe we need to change the narrative here, and we just need to text. Just casually text like we do with everything else. So I'll be like, hey, Nikki, Joseph died. By the way, Joseph died.
Hey, Sam.
I don't mean to worry you.
I don't want to worry you. But something happened to your Uncle Jim. Your Uncle Tim is okay.
Maybe that needs to be the new standard, is you just start texting when people die or something.
I don't know. We're fucked up, so I don't know if we're a good couple of guys to make this decision.
No, we're not. All right, but anyway, we'll wrap this up here. We got my fairy dust music playing. You like that?
I do like that. I'm happy that I get to listen to some Chester Boom on the way out.
It is. Chester Boom will be for another day.
I can't wait for that one.
The Chester Boom one?
Yeah.
I'm going to call Jeremy up and get him on here.
I have all those tapes up in my attic of all y'all shows.
All right. See ya.